We are live in 3, 2, 1.
I now call the meeting of the Code Enforcement Board to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands, nation, indivisible, with justice. Welcome to the Hillsborough County Code Enforcement Board hearing. When addressing the board, please state your name, address, and speak clearly into the microphone. If you are planning to speak during this hearing, you must sign the speakers list located at the front door for record. Presentations by the county, respondents, and opposition must be kept to a maximum of 10 minutes each. The board may recess at 12:30 and reconvene at 1:30 to conclude its business if needed. The basic process for this hearing is as follows. Your case will be announced, and Ms. Meyer will conduct the oath of witness. Staff will present their evidence on your case, and then you will be allowed to rebut that evidence and explain what has occurred. We'll close the hearing, the board will deliberate, make a motion, vote, and then I will announce a decision. All decisions are based on the gravity of the violation, the actions taken by the violator, and the violator's history. The board may ask questions and allow other witness testimony as necessary. If the board issues an order for compliance, it's your responsibility to notify the code enforcement officer on or before the date ordered to demonstrate the violation has been corrected. Depending on the order, the code enforcement staff may later have to conduct an inspection to see if you have complied. If the staff believes you have not complied, you'll receive a notice in the mail. By law, you have 10 days to contest that notice, otherwise it will be considered correct and a lien may be filed against your property. If you have any questions, these rules are outlined by Hillsborough County Codes of Ordinances and Laws, Chapter 14, Article 2, Section 14. Any person who decides to appeal a decision of the Code Enforcement Board will need a record of the proceedings. The record is comprised of testimony and evidence upon which an appeal is based. It is your responsibility to ensure that a verbatim record of the proceedings is made. By law, you have 30 days from the date of the order to appeal the board's decision to circuit court. And before we begin, please silence all electronic devices. Before we take roll call this morning, I'd like to take a moment to recognize a friend of the board. Mr. Anthony Bordenaro passed away this past week. He was 70 years old. Mr. Bordenaro had a distinguished career with the serving Hillsborough County with the Sheriff's Office and law enforcement. And after that, he decided to volunteer for this board. He served on this board for 6 years. He was here the entire time that I've been here. He just rolled off this past March and served as chairman of this board. He was a friend and a mentor. And I know that this board and the people up here are going to miss him. In addition to this board, he also served as a special magistrate for Hillsborough County. His service to this county is unprecedented. I'd like to take a moment of silence to recognize Mr. Anthony Bordenaro. Thank you very much. Next order of business, roll call, please.
Good morning, Lorenzen.
Present.
Clayton.
Present.
D'Orazio.
Present.
Maybor.
Present.
Versilla.
Here.
Wright.
Here.
And I had Bourget. Very good. You have a quorum?
Thank you very much. Next order of business, we have the oath of office for new board members.
If the new member could stand and raise their right hand, please. And repeat after me. I, your name,
I, Monique Maybor,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support, protect, and defend
that I will support, protect, and defend
the Constitution and government of the United States
the Constitution and governance of the United States
and of the state of Florida,
and of the state of Florida,
and that I am duly qualified to hold office
Oh, and I'm duly qualified for the office
under the Constitution of the state,
under the Constitution of the states,
and that I will well and faithfully perform the duties
and I will willingly perform the duties
of the Code Enforcement Board,
of the Code Enforcement Board,
which I am now about to enter.
which I am now a tender.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you and welcome to the board. Next order of business is selection and nomination of chair and vice chair for this year. Would
Chairman,
anyone- Go ahead, sir.
Mr. Chairman, I so make a motion that you accept the position, or that Brian accept the position as chair.
Second that by right.
Thank you. Nomination for myself as chairman has been nominated and seconded. Any other nominations?
I would like
Who had the motion in the second, please?
Mr. Vasilla nominated and Ms. Wright seconded.
Thank you.
Welcome.
I would like to nominate Roger Ursula for vice chair.
Second by right.
We have a nomination and a second for vice chair with Mr. Vasilla.
Who was the motion in the second, please?
Yes. Mr. Razio.
I didn't get
Ms.
the
Wright.
I didn't get the members who had the motion in the second.
Ms. Wright had the second.
I didn't hear the nomination. Could I hear the nomination again, please?
Sure. Can we repeat the nomination?
I would like to nominate Roger Ursula for vice chair.
And your name?
My name is Jean Durazio.
Thank you, Mr. Razio.
And the second is by right.
Ms. Wright seconds.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we have two nominations and seconds. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations. Thank you. All right. Next order of business, approval of minutes of the previous meetings. We have minutes for February 22nd and March 25th.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion that we accept the minutes of February 22nd and March 25th as produced.
I second that. Jean Durazio.
Okay. Motion by Mr. Versilla, second by Mr. Razio. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Approved.
Mr. Chair, I'm having a hard time catching Mr. Verzilla's nominations. Is the microphone on?
It is not at the moment, but would you like him to restate his motion?
Yes, please.
Could you restate your motion, Mr. Versilla, for the minutes?
Make a motion that we accept the meeting minutes of February 22nd and March 25th as produced. Want me to do it again?
No, I just didn't get you on record the first time.
No problem. Okay. Motion and seconded. Did we vote on that one? Or were we restating that? Did we vote to approve those? We did? Okay, thanks. Next, administration of the oath.
All county staff who will testify must take the oath of witness. Please stand and raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you. First case.
We're ready for the first case, please.
Turn to page page 1, number 2, case number CE 2100-9727. The owner is HSW Associates Incorporated. The location is 5305 Rawls Road. We have service and we have someone present for this. Someone signed in for this case. Are you the attorney representing the property owner?
Yes, I'm
Okay.
Amy Stoll and I represent HSW and
State your
Associates.
name and address for the record, please.
It's Amy Stoll. The firm address is 1000 West Cass Street.
Okay. That's Tampa, right?
Tampa, Florida, I'm sorry, 33606.
And do you recognize the property? I realize you might not.
I do not, because I'm really just here to
Okay.
talk about what's going to go in the
I
compliance
have
order.
to ask.
Okay.
Good morning, officer.
Morning, Rick Garcia, Hillsborough County Code Enforcement. The case is CE 21009727, 5305 Rawls Road, Tampa, Florida, 33625. Property is zoned ASC 1 and is 1.21 acres in size, owned by HSW Associates Incorporated, is not in foreclosure. It was first inspected on 7/16/2021 by Officer Gonzalez. During the inspection, she identified the violations of outside open storage, commercial vehicles, and accumulations. All of these violations have been complied with. However, the property has been the subject of several similar complaints. CE 19008952, which was complied, CE 20000597 was referred but complied prior to the hearing, and CE 20017471, which was closed after compliance. As I said before, all the violations have been complied. The main issue was the complaint on commercial vehicles. The property does allow for one commercial vehicle. However, at the time of the original inspection, there were numerous commercial vehicles. Contact was maintained with the violator and the representatives of the owner throughout the inspection. The final inspection was on 4/20/22, and as I said, all violations have been complied.
Excellent. Okay, Counselor, what'd you like to tell the board?
Yeah, so my understanding is they're just seeking for a remain in compliance order. Is that what we're here today? Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, and so HSW just wanted to say that there's not necessarily an objection to that. They try to be a good tenant. They try to be a good landowner, but of course they can't control all their tenants all of the time. And as you've seen, there has been timely compliance with these code violations. I was a little confused because I thought that the two of the violations, there were found no violation, but did you say that it was?
Which two are you referring to?
Let's. This one. That one.
The officer previously cleared it using the clearance of no violations observed. However, the violations were observed. They were just resolved prior to him taking any further action. So there were violations present, but I guess through discussions with one of them, I believe, was dealing with the tenant themselves. And the subsequent cases, I believe, were resolved by speaking with representatives of the owner.
I'm not sure it got on record which violations you're talking about.
It had to do with the complaints of commercial vehicles and outside open storage.
Thank you.
So the two that we were just referring to is, I think that was resolved with a finding of no violation. So really there was only two where there was a violation, and that was complied. So, and HSW has a lot of properties in the community. They've never had a remain in compliance order. So they just wanted to make sure that if what goes into that order, they were not sure what goes into that order and if that allows for a fine immediately or if they'll get some kind of notice, because again, they do try to be a good landowner, and as soon as they get these notices of violations, they're out there making sure that their tenants comply. So we just want to either have, they'd prefer that they don't get a remain in compliance order because they don't feel like there's been, numerous violations. There's only really been two that were immediately complied with. But if there needs to be a remain in compliance order, they just wanted to make sure that there's something in there that provides that they get some kind of notice, maybe 5-10 days, whatever it is, so that there's not like an immediate fine issued to them where they don't get a chance to cure.
Mr. Bassano, would you address the issue in regards to the status of what goes into a remaining compliance order, please?
I can do that, although I will do that. With the remaining compliance, it just goes that the case is recognized by the court. You do not automatically get a fine, but you move through different degrees each time you brought in front of the board for the same violations. So the remaining compliance is just an order telling you that you've been recognized that you were in violation, that the violation has been corrected, and now you are to remain in compliance. And we use that so that if we come back again, the next would be a repeat violator. What happens is that the penalties get larger in number. But right now, the remaining compliance just tells you the remaining compliance. The one that you would be worried about that you're making reference to is per current order, and that would be the last step, and that you're still far from that point.
Okay, they didn't know, so they wanted me to come and just make sure.
Yeah, no, you're far
Okay.
from your concerns.
All
Always
right.
Good to have clarification.
Thank you.
Anything else, officer?
No, I just felt it was pertinent that, have we shown the next slide, showing the overview of the property?
I don't think so.
If you could take a moment, Rick, if you can come here, please.
Actually, it's not really that relevant. I just wanted to point out that it's a large property that fronts on Rawls Road and on Hutchison Road. It gives the appearance of being a commercial site, but in reality it's zone ASC1. So it lends itself there, as you see, it lends itself to that issue of returning to storing items outside. But like I said, I just wanted to make note of that.
Okay. Any questions from the board? Would anybody like to make a motion?
I'm prepared to make a
That's
motion.
right.
I move in case number CE 21009727 that based on the evidence presented, I find that the property was in violation of Hillsborough County codes or ordinances as presented. Further, I find that the property is now in compliance with the code provision and order that it remain in compliance with this code provision.
Second, Clayton.
Second by Ms. Clayton. We have a motion on the floor. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Remain in compliance. Thank you. Next case, please.
Next case on page 2, number 3, case number CE 2100-8891. The owner is Santos C. De Leon and Elena D. De Leon. Location 1409 Bates Street. We have service and someone is signed in for this case. If you're here for this case, come forward now.
Good morning.
Raise your right hand, please. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
And state your name and address.
Santos de Leon, 1409 Bay Street, Brandon, Florida, 33510.
Thank you. Do you recognize the property in the photo?
I do.
Thank you.
Good morning, officer.
Good morning.
Good morning, Charles Harwell, Hillsborough County Code Enforcement. This case originated on June 23rd of last year. It is zoned RSC 6, owner occupied, it's not in foreclosure, and there are no life safety issues. The violations are in-op vehicles. As you can see, this white truck is a flat tire. Was unable to, due to its location, unable to view the plate. That is new since the case started. This Subaru has been there since day one, no license plate. The other violation is outside open storage. You can see the buckets and the, back away from it. Buckets and the, I don't know why we got an echo. Can you turn yours off? Yeah, so there was the sawhorses and the buckets behind the Subaru, as well as accumulations for the, right next to the garage. There was a lot of junk, trash, and debris. And then outside open storage for the fence panels. They've been there since day one. As you can see the stuff behind there. If you go to the next photo, you'll get a zoom in. That's some kind of appliance, pipes, tires, tarps, miscellaneous stuff. If you back up, you can see that on the left side, accumulation, junk, trash, and debris. That's in front of the garage. So most of this stuff has been there since the day one. So I've spoke to the property owner 3 or 4 times and expressed, what needed to be done.
No change.
No change. He can speak to his situation.
Excellent. Sir, what would you like to tell the board?
Well, I apologize, number one, for that. My time's been occupied with my wife. Back in May, she was diagnosed with cancer, cervical cancer.
Very sorry.
Shortly after that, in July, we got COVID. She spent 45 days in the hospital. And then near the end, she had a lung collapse, had to have surgery. During all this time, the treatments were canceled, radiation and chemo due to the surgery. She recovered from that, and then she had renal failure. Those complications, she had to have more surgery. And then she was recovering from that and just had more complications. I've been in the hospital with her more than I have at work. My truck, that's my work truck. The tire went flat. I do construction. Must have ran over something. The truck runs. It's got a tag on it. The Subaru doesn't run. I need to get it fixed. Haven't been able to do that. So after the renal failure, so it trickled down. Got out. She had to go back in after radiation and chemo started again. Radiation tore her bowel. She had to have surgery, colostomy bag. So I lost my wife last Wednesday. I have had a hard time just trying to keep up with me and myself and work and pay my bills. The accumulations from work I do. I just got a trailer too, so I'll be able to haul stuff away. But service is tomorrow for her funeral. I'll be able to focus a little bit more, I think. Yeah, but
I'm terribly sorry.
that's my
for
journey.
Your,
I'm
terribly sorry
about
for
that.
your loss. How much time do you think you will need to get this taken care of? Because it doesn't, at least from the testimony of the officer, I didn't hear that there was a life safety issue involved here. So
Yeah,
how much time do you think you need?
I don't know. 90 days would be okay.
It's fine with me. It's just, whatever it takes for him. I
Yeah.
feel sorry for him.
Yep.
Funeral's tomorrow, like you said.
Absolutely, right. Be able to get your head clear and get those things taken care of. And at least 90 days sounds fair to me.
Okay.
So I'll leave that to the board to make their motion. Okay? All right.
Appreciate it.
Any questions from the board? Anybody would like to entertain a motion?
I'm prepared to make a motion.
Mr. Razio?
I move in case number CE 21008891 that based on the evidence presented, I find that the property is in violation of Hillsborough County codes or ordinances as listed in staff's presentation. Further, based on the gravity of the violation and the actions taken by the violator and the violator's history, I grant 90 days to come into compliance, and if compliance is not achieved by that date, a fine of $250 per day be assessed.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second, for the purpose of discussion,
Ms. Wright?
would you be willing to lower the fine to maybe like $100?
At your request, I amend my motion to the fine being $100 per day for non-compliant.
Second by right.
All right, we have a motion for 90 days, $100 a day. Any more discussion? All right, I'll entertain a motion. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Sir, you have 90 days to get that taken care of. After that, it's a fine of $100 per day.
Thank you.
Again, very sorry for your loss. Thank you for coming down.
Have a great day.
Next case, please.
Turn to page 3, number 5, case number CE 21012676. The owner is Kevin L. Green and Gina Ann Green, location 3305 Shippey Place. We have service, and someone is signed in for this case. Raise your right hand, please. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
And state your name and address.
Kevin Green, 3305 Shippey Place, Dover, Florida.
And do you recognize the property in the picture up there?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Do we have other folks that are going to testify as well?
Yes, we have the Shippey family off to my left. They may choose to speak. They just came on up. They just want to reserve their right to speak if they feel the need to after.
Okay. All right. Ms. Meyer, do you want to swear them?
That's not,
Start?
I'm sorry.
Thank you. Can you step aside, sir? So, oh, no, there we go.
Okay, I'll need you to speak into the microphone when you talk.
Okay. Can you hear us?
Well, yeah.
Okay.
Raise your right hand. And do yours at the same time. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. And both of you, give me your name and address.
My name is Ronald Shippey. I live at 3302 Shippey Place, Dover, Florida.
Thank you.
My name is Sharon Shippey. I live at 3302 Shippey Place, Dover, Florida.
Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you. Good morning, officer.
Good morning, Stephen Saucer, Hillsborough County Code Enforcement. This case came to us from a complaint that was submitted to the BOCC. It went to Development Services, and then it came to our department. It was in regards to a fence in the required front yard. The case began August of last year. The case had a notice of violation mailed out in September of last year after we had the interpretation from Development Services for the required front yard. The photographs that we are looking at, I took those photographs day before yesterday, and that photograph right there, you will see the wooden fence, and then you will see the post behind and above the wooden fence. That is specifically what we were talking about. Over here, this is the overhead view from the GIS map, and you will see that the property is shaped, has a flag lot shape. With the property being a flag lot, all of the area to the north of the main structure is the required front yard. And here you see the lot, or can we stay on this one for a second? So you will see the main structure, and to the northwest of the main structure, you'll see a diagonal yellow line. That is where those posts currently are located. There used to be a fence or barrier that was installed there. So those posts that are there were part of the construction of what was there, the entirety of what was there. Currently, what is left there are the posts, which by definition, by county definition, is still a structure. It is still installed in the ground. So that's what's the remnants of the barrier / fence or what was installed in the yard. Those posts right there that are sticking above the 6-foot-high fence. When the case initially started, there was another barrier or fence that was also there, but throughout the cycle of the case, Mr. Green has corrected that issue. I will let them. They both have the opportunity to speak. I will volunteer this information and say that this case began with, how can I say, a misunderstanding and misinformation that Mr. Green was given for what the required front yard is based on county definition and also his yard orientation. Mr. Green was unfamiliar of what the yard orientation was for his flag lot. And that is why I put in the last slide for the county information of what a flag lot is, so we're all of the same understanding at this point.
Okay, can you go back to the overhead of the lot for me real quick? The portion that we're discussing today is only the diagonal portion of the T that goes to the 25-foot required front yard setback. The additional that continues down into the lot to the north is not the issue today?
That overhead view was when the case began. The only thing that is still existing is just like how you have said, that diagonal portion at the
Okay.
very beginning, correct?
Okay, excellent. Okay, Mr. Green, what would you like to tell the board?
Hey, I was here about a year and a half ago. I don't know if any of y'all were here and heard the case or whatever. I was told by a couple of people to stay on track, that wouldn't go into what I was here before for and stuff like that, but.
New day, new case.
Sir?
New day, new case.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
What is going on, the reason I put something up there is because this guy been shining lights at my property. I tried to block it out, didn't retaliate, go and do anything stupid, cutting his tires or anything like that, which I never would to anybody. And when I put something up to block these lights, they'd call the county on me. Then he'd put up more lights. I put something up to block that. Then he'd call the county on that. And I'm like, well, dude, if you keep your dadgum lights, and purposefully aimed at my home, I wouldn't be doing this. And Mr. Converse isn't here today. Nice guy, I think the world of him. And I'm not bad mouthing him at all whenever I say this, but I called him and asked him specifically, could I put this up? It's four by four wooden posts. They're about 8 foot tall. And I put a screw in and a tarp from, I don't want stuff in my front yard, but it's to block the lights, I mean, that's my home of 37 years. And I sent him pictures. He said, you're good to go. Okay. Mr. Gross, the director of code, I think is still there. And Terry and a couple other people, I can't remember their names. They came out of my property one time, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and saw this that I was told that I could put up. Well, then with the Shippies complaining about it, it's like, keep your lights off me, man. I mean, we won't have a problem, live and let live, leave me alone. And, which he won't do. And, anyway, then I was issued a violation after this has been up for 3 years, what we're here for today, because they went to zoning and found out there was a 25-foot setback. Well, in all due respect, sir, I'm not meaning to sound ugly to any of y'all. That's not my problem. I called, I sent you pictures. You told me I could do it. I did it exactly as I was told that I could do it. And then it's like, well, we didn't know at the time. Well, you want to give me some money back, expensive as lumber is and stuff like that, for these 4x4 posts and 2x4s and everything like that. And I had a case dismissed the last time that I was here, which I don't know, I'm supposed to get into that, but the case was dismissed. I was sent a letter of dismissal. They went crazy again, complaining. And then I got a violation again for what had been dismissed because, well, we didn't know at the time you had a 25-foot setback. And again, with all due respect, sir, that's not my problem, buddy. I called, did everything I was supposed to do. And I'm getting like bam, 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 bam. And I'm not doing it, I'm just doing what I was told I could do. I mean, I don't need an attorney here and I'm not getting mixed up in my lies or anything like that. I can, you'll hear out of me what you're hearing right now next week and the week after. But the only thing that's remaining out there now is 4 posts. 4x4 posts. There's nothing attached to them. I was going to put some bird feeders on them. The thing that was out front that I spent several $100s on, which the board dismissed, I went out there in frustration with a chainsaw and just cut it down off the ground because I wasn't able to get the concrete out of the ground. You know what I mean? But anyway, I probably ramble enough with you. I hope you see where I'm coming from.
I understand your concern. You do understand from a zoning standpoint that there is a 25-foot setback, correct?
Yes, sir. But how does it?
That was the question. You understand that there's a 25-foot setback on the property? Yeah.
Before I was told I could do all this stuff, you know what I mean?
Yeah, understand. Yeah. So in the issue that we're dealing with right now is 4x4 posts that are in the ground, nothing connected to them.
Nothing at all.
And is there a particular reason why you removed all of the materials from everything and just left the 4 posts?
Well, the ones out front, that you don't have the pictures here, that the tarps were there, and someone asked him if he hung clothes on it, would it be a violation? And he said, no, sir, and y'all dismissed it. Took that down. I cut it off down at the ground. And my 4x4s are basically, messed up. Having to, cut them off the ground. They're that deep in the ground with concrete. I couldn't get them out. These posts here, I don't want to do the same thing, go out there and cut them down. I mean, I'll put bird feeders on them or something, you know what I mean? There's nothing attached to it. I don't see the difference between like a flagpole, if you got a flagpole in your front
This
yard.
is definitely not a flagpole.
Yeah.
Right.
How about if you put like a windmill in your front yard that's 8 foot tall? No. I'm saying because
I don't have the ability
I
to
got
debate
you, buddy.
what is or
Yeah.
isn't considered, able to be put in that place. I can say
Yeah.
that it's clear from your testimony and the testimony of the officer and the previous cases that was not your intention when you put those 4x4 posts in, correct?
To do what?
To do bird feeders or windmills or anything like that. When you installed them, that was not your intention.
It was to block lights, and I was told I could do it,
Excellent.
Yes,
I
sir.
understand. Okay.
I know you got your hands full, man.
Nope. Any questions for this gentleman in regards to? Okay. All right. Mr. and Mrs. Shipley, would you like to say something?
Either one, whatever you feel comfortable with.
You pull that one down a little bit. My folks downtown really appreciate that. Thank you.
I would like to call the accessory structure here is defined by Hillsborough County. The post is in the ground, determines it as a structure. The reason that we did the research on this structure and everything, we were going to put up a carport at our rental house over there. We were told we didn't have the 50-foot clearance. We was 47 foot, wasn't it? 47 foot. They said we probably wouldn't get a permit. And it was at that time, it was 50 foot. So we're thinking, well, the post is defined by Hillsborough County as a structure that Mr. Green's got. How did he get a structure on his and we can't get one on ours, and we's going to apply for a permit? So we did the research and we called the county. Well, they decreased it from 50 to 25 foot. So now he is in violation with these 4 posts, of which there's a tarp hanging on it. When we left, there was a tarp that was hanging on it. So that's what he does, is he puts the tarps up at night, takes them down in the morning. But it's to block the lights. The lights that he's blocking is not floodlights. The floodlights shine east and west. His house faces east and west, but they're not shining in his house. They're residential lights from the inside of the house is what they are. So maybe we should turn the inside lights off. But my question is, the posts are in violation. They're not supposed to be there in the front of the house. So I propose to have the posts removed, not cut down or anything, but removed. Therefore, somebody else can't use this case as a guideline to just cut the 4-foot post, to cut the post down to 4 foot. You see what I'm saying? They can't use this in another case. Say he complied by cutting them down. He needs to comply by removing them, because they serve no purpose. There's no bird feeder on them. There's a tarp on them.
Okay. Excellent.
And it's a wind problem, the tarp is, because the wind's tore it up before. He's replaced it. So, but anyhow, that's fine. So thank you for your time.
Absolutely. Members of the board, any questions for this testimony? Okay. Please, ma'am.
Mr. Green stated himself that he removed the posts on the west side. He cut them down. So he understood that that was a problem. Now he understands that this also is a problem, a code violation. So he needs to just cut them off like he did on the west side. Plain and simple. If that's the code, that's the code. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Members of the board, any more questions? Questions for the officer? Happy to entertain a motion from anyone. Pull your mic to you so they can hear you downtown, Mr.
Mr. Green, you want to come back?
Mr. Green? Please, no, he's asking, he'd like to ask you a question if you
No, go
could
ahead.
come up to the mic.
Go ahead. You first.
Oh, okay. I think it was his wife that just said something about the thing out front that I was well aware, the post or whatever like that in the ground and et cetera. And so why would I do this? And I don't know what the heck he was talking about too, about, I want the post removed. It's like, I don't want them put 4 foot. It's like, buddy, I mean, the guy's a control freak. But anyway, my case was dismissed. The one that she was just talking about, where she said that I knew that it was a violation. My case was dismissed. The board sent me a letter of dismissal. And then a year later, violated me again. And like I said, the 4 posts that I put up, they're not an eyesore to them. The guy is so ticked off that he doesn't own my property. If he owned it, he'd own the whole thing back. And
Sir, that's not,
you know,
not relevant. So,
but those posts, they ain't hurting a dadgum thing. I mean, I spent good money on it and did something I was told I could do. And, you know, I have had Steve on my property and Terry and Mr. Gross and Mr. Spiller open my home book to them. You know what I mean?
officer, is there something you'd like to add?
It's like, guys, leave me alone. Those posts ain't hurting nothing, brother.
I just would like to clarify while all the parties are here and while we're at this venue. Excuse me. So for the required front yard, you are allowed to have a 4-foot high fence in your required front yard. A fence also has a 0 lot line, meaning you could go out to your property line. So in other words, a 4-foot high fence in your required front yard is what is allowed, nothing higher. And also for an accessory structure setbacks are double the required front yard or 40 feet, whichever is less. With the configuration of your lot, you do not have the space to put an accessory structure, which
Is
would
that
be
an accessory structure or a structure, being it's just a post?
an accessory structure is a structure, not counting your main dwelling, not counting the main structure. That's an accessory structure. So by definition, by county definition, those posts are accessory structures, same difference. So the setback would be double your zoning, which is 25-foot required front yard, or 40 feet, whichever is less. So you cannot have a structure, AKA an accessory structure, in your required front yard.
You know, I haven't called in on him. This guy's called in on me a zillion times, over and over and over.
Okay.
and over.
Enough.
Thank
You
you.
know.
Appreciate it. Mr. Rusilla?
Yes, sir. I'm sorry. I got sidetracked.
That's okay. Mr. Rusilla, you'd like to make a motion?
Yes, I move in the case of CE 21012676 that based on the evidence presented, I find the property in violation of Hillsborough County Code and Ordinance as listed in staff presentation. Further, based on the gravity of violation, the action taken by the violator, violation history, I grant 15 days to come in compliance. Compliance not achieved by that time, a fine of $200 per day will be assessed.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Ms. Clayton. We have a motion. We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Sir, you have 15 days to complete the corrections, or it's $200 per day. Thank you very much. Have a great weekend.
Really quick, I'm sorry. I was just able to get on because I was having issues and your
Anybody
IT people
heard
helped
from-
me.
Gina?
Yes, ma'am. You're here and we're prepared when your case comes up.
Oh, okay.
Okay, thanks, Gina. Gina's on hold. We're on to I'm sorry. Next case, please.
Okay, turn to the last page of your agendas, please, number 33. Under contest, case number CE 2000-7535. The owner is Ming H. Adamson. Location 8510 Radio Lane. This is a contest that the owner filed with our office in response to an affidavit of noncompliance that we received. Good morning. Raise your right hand, please. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, state your name and address.
Michael A. Hansen.
Can you pull that down a little closer?
Michael A. Hansen. My address is 2501 North Orient Road. I'm the attorney for Miss Ming Adamson, and she's next to me right now.
My name is Ming Adamson. I live 8510 Radio Lane, Tampa, Florida, 33619.
Thank you.
I'm actually operating a little bit less than normal. I've had some residual, trying to word it right. I'm not operating really well. I'm doing this as a favor for Mrs. Adamson. I've been representing her in this property for about 3 years.
Okay, thank you, Counselor. Let me have the officer speak so everybody can remind ourselves of the case, and then we'll be right with you. Good morning, officer.
Good morning, Board. Monty Gutierrez, Hillsborough County Code Enforcement. This case was initiated May 2020. It is owner occupied. It is not in foreclosure. It is zoned AS1, no life safety issues. The violations that we had quite a few violations that were complied. The violations that are left are accumulations and outside open storage. I've been there quite a few times. I've spoken to Miss Adamson quite a few times. Every time she's called me and asked me to come by, I have. I don't feel she understands the definitions of accumulations. And this is where we're at with these photos here.
She is in compliance right now and has been for about 2 weeks. I had an assistant of mine go out, take pictures of the property. I don't have those with me, but she is willing to testify right now that she has complied.
Okay.
I've been widowed for 20 years now, and I'm 83 years old. I do everything myself. Every time I get somebody do something for me, I pay them, never finishing for me. But I've been working so hard on my house. My house is not like that anymore. I got a lot of material because I make it clothes for people. And my one arm, it's broke. So it's not like that anymore now. You can look at a picture. I've been cleaning every day.
Okay.
But you look at now, it's not like that.
Understand. The issue that we're dealing with today is a contest of the existing violation. So at this point, what we can do is rule for or against your motion for contest. So we're not rehearing the case at this point.
Just to clarify, the contest is only related to the inspection done on the day that the affidavit that was submitted by the officer. It's not that they've complied since that date. It's were they in compliance on that date.
Correct. And officer, verify the date for which you.
The date was April 5th, 2022 at 12:03.
Excellent. Thank you. Questions for the board? Mr. Versillo, prepared to make a motion?
Yes, prepared to, I deny the contest.
Okay, we have a motion to deny the contest. We have a second. No second?
Second.
Mr. Razio seconds the motion to deny contest. All in favor?
Hey,
Oh,
let me
please.
clarify one thing with.
Sorry, we have some discussion.
Discussion is the regarding the contest, and my problem is that this started in 1920 or 2020. Only complied recently. It's gone on for 2 years. You've got fines of $37,000 because of non-compliance. That's why I'm denying. That's the reason for the no contest is denied.
In your motion, is there, Mr. Versillo, is there any change to the fine or waive of fines or anything like that?
Negative.
Thank you. Okay, So to clarify, we have a motion to deny the contest by Mr. Versilla with second by Mr. Razio. Discussion? Seeing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. So the contest has been denied.
Okay. And she has appeal rights as to the contents. I guess can I get the amount of the contents?
Excuse me, sir. When the officer submits an affidavit of compliance to my office, we will send a notice that tells what the total fine is on the day that he finds the compliance.
Okay.
And there will be an opportunity to reduce that fine
Okay.
if that's what you choose to do. But you can still appeal the order, or
Okay.
all of your rights
Then
are still
you
there.
can work directly.
It's ready for reinspection right now.
So you get with the officer and have that taken care of as soon as you can.
Yep. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next case, please.
Turn back to page 3, number 6, case number CE 2100-7051. The owner is Johann R. Morgan Jr., location 4107 Copper Canyon Boulevard. We have service, and someone is here for this case. Morning, raise your right hand, please. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
And state your name and address.
My name is Johann R. Morgan Jr. My address is 4107 Copper Canyon Boulevard, Rico, Florida.
Thank you. Do you recognize the property in the photo?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, officer.
Good morning. Morning, everybody. Officer Dave Jones, Hillsborough County Code Enforcement. Case number CE 2100-7051. Property in question is 4107 Copper Canyon Boulevard, Valrico, Florida. Property is zoned PD. First inspection was May 20th, 2021, and last inspection was April 19th, 2022 for overgrowth.
Okay, sir, what would you like to tell the board?
First of all, I'd like to apologize for the overgrowth. I have an elderly, I had an elderly aunt and uncle who lived up in the Chicago area. They were in a nursing home. I have the medical and financial power of attorney for them, and I've periodically had to travel up there for issues related to their care and their circumstances. My uncle passed away from COVID in December of 2020, and that left my aunt on her own in the nursing home. I received a phone call yesterday morning informing me that she had just passed away. Like I said, I periodically had to travel up, and that's sort of what contributed to the overgrowth. The lawn, I mowed the lawn yesterday, and I have some photos here, if that helps at all.
Yeah, young ladies over here. Yeah, that's fine.
Like I said, the lawn has been mowed. If there's any other items that need to be, that are still an issue, I would obviously take care of those, right away.
Okay, but it's your belief that you're currently in compliance and everything's been cleaned up?
As I said, I think the original citation was for the lawn, the overgrowth, and the lawn. Like I said, I mowed that yesterday.
Great. So you saw the pictures from the officer and it doesn't look like that anymore?
Correct.
Excellent. Okay, terrific. Correct. So you're in compliance. So I'll pass that back to the board and let them make a ruling in regards to time, but I would assume it'll probably be a short time frame for to have the officer come back out and verify that it's been done, and then you'll be in compliance and case will be closed.
Okay.
Okay. All right, we're happy to take a motion from the board.
Prepared to make a motion. I move in case number CE 21007051 that based on the evidence presented, I find that the property is in violation of Hillsborough County Codes or Ordinances as listed in the staff's presentation. Further, based on the gravity of the violation, the actions taken by the violator, and the violator's history, that I grant 7 days to come into compliance, and if compliance is not achieved by that date, a fine of $200 per day be assessed.
All right, we have a motion by Ms. Wright. We have a second.
Second, Durazio.
Thank you, Mr. Rossio. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please, Mr. Versilla.
Okay.
Thank you. We have a motion. We have a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Sir, in the next 7 days, you're going to get with the officer and he's going to come out and take a look, make sure that it's complete.
Okay.
All right?
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Do I
Appreciate the time.
leave these here?
You can leave those there. Absolutely.
Okay.
We'll add them to the file.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
Mr. Verzilla's comments that we just made were not picked up on the mic.
He says he doesn't, your microphone wasn't working for your comments, your comment section. So if you could add that for the record. Yeah, hold on one second. It's showing red, but no one can hear you. It's got nope, it's got a short in it. Nope. 1 second recording, folks. We're making some repairs to our technology.
Hello.
There we are. Excellent. Can you repeat your comment just for the record?
Yes, I was not plugged in, but comments was that I reminded that the complainant on this, or the violator, that this case has been going on since 2021 and that he should pay more attention to it
Thank
on
you.
a timely basis.
Thank you. Recording secretary, does that work for you?
That worked for me. We're picking him up much better now. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next case, please.
Turn to page 5, number 11, case number CE 21010025. The owner is trust number 5824, location 5824 Coventry Drive. We have service, and we do have someone signed in for this case. Good morning. Raise your right hand, please. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
And state your name and address.
My name is Celia Lockwood. The property address, is that the one you want, your property address or my address?
Your address.
Oh, PO Box 130488, Tampa, Florida, 33681.
Thank you. Ma'am, do you recognize the property in the photo up here?
I'm sorry, ma'am.
Do you recognize the property?
I do.
And what is your relation to trust number 5824?
I'm part of the ownership there.
All right, thank you.
Good morning, officer.
Good morning, Board. Edward Spriggs, Hillsborough County Code Enforcement. Dealing with case number CE 21010025, located at 5824 Coventry Drive, Tampa, Florida. The complaint originally came to the county the complaint came to the county on July of 2021. The property is vacant and it is owned by Ms. Cecilia. There was numerous violations in the beginning of the property, of which only one remained. That is the overgrowth. I realize the property has come into hardship times. It was broken in between the beginning and now. There was vandalism. She has repaired a lot of the issues. And like I said, the last one that remains is the overgrowth.
Okay, so the accumulations, the general standards, the exterior walls, the nuisance conditions have all been complied.
Yes, as you can see, the front of the building has been fixed. The corner was all been removed from the vandals. The thieves had stolen the AC units that were there. Yes.
Okay, excellent. Ma'am, what would you like to tell the board?
Well, I guess when I was actually renting my land. I did not own the mobile home, I did not to begin with. I had a pastor, Ricardo Malasso, who was actually renting my land there. He had a 5-year lease starting in 2019. So I had no idea what was going on over there, nothing, absolutely nothing, because he would either deposit his rent into my account. So I never came over, you know, they just put the money in the account. And then I would just do that. So then I found out that this code violation thing was going on. And I went to my attorney, and my attorneys wrote the pastor, my tenant, letters warning him about the code enforcement and everything else, and everything had to be fixed and blah, blah, all that. I had no idea about any of this. And so anyway, I didn't actually get, I don't know if you call it ownership, whatever, the rights to go back onto or into that mobile home until after October of 2021. So when I went in there, you know, it was a bit of a shocker for me. And because I have owned this property since 2005, so 17 years, I never really had any problems other than tenants, evictions, but not personal problems with it. And I went to a pastor, and it's been the worst ever because he's left me with a dismantled home. He gutted it out completely, and he took the kitchen out, he took the bathrooms, the toilets, everything out of it. I've got no floors in there. There's no floors in there. I fell down the hole, not broke my legs. I scratched up all my legs. And I have been on it as much as humanly possible. I can't even drive because I suffer with anxiety and everything. So every time I go over there, I have to get someone to ride me over there. So it's really, really hard for me. But what did I say? So anyway, I've had lawyers. I've got several lawyers' letters that I can prove here. I've got the police report. The last was a robbery over there. Like, this is the 17th of March. Someone went in there and they took more of the floors. They took the fridge. They took the oven. They took the washing machine. Everything. I've had no rent since October or whenever he left, right? October. I live off this. This is part of my income. I only get a measly social security check. So I'm really in the hole right now financially. All I want is someone, I wanted to get it demolished. Just get it out. I called a demolishing guy. I was on the phone with him from November through, I don't know, what was it, February, March? Getting him to try and go over. There was always, his daughter wanted to commit suicide, but this, that, and the other thing. And I kept giving him a chance because he was less expensive than anybody else. Right?
You've done a fantastic job of going through the process. I'm sorry to hear
it's
of
really
how you've been taken advantage of in the last 6 months or so.
I have, and I've lost money. I've got nothing to live off for.
The only item that's outstanding for us today is the overgrowth. So
well, that there was only, and as I spoke to Mr. Spriggs, I asked him how everything was fine, and I put the no trespassing signs on there and everything else, and put the gates up. What was wrong? And he said, yeah, there's still an overgrowth at the back, but I didn't know how he saw the back because there was gates there. But anyway, it was only a tiny bit. It's been done. I've got the photos here today.
Oh, terrific.
Yeah, I mean, it's on my phone.
No, well, if you show us on your phone, we have to keep your phone. And it's probably a nice one.
And I've also got them on my iPad.
You probably don't want to do that. No.
Okay,
that's
but
okay.
it's the yard is fine, front and back.
Okay.
I would love it if someone would just demolish it for me. Seriously, because it's so expensive to do, but I just want it out of I want it off my land.
Understand. But your testimony here today is that the overgrowth has been complied.
It
so
has.
we just need the officer to come back out and take a look
Yes,
in a
please.
short period of time. Okay.
Yes, please.
All right. Terrific. Members of the board, any questions, comments, or somebody like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Okay.
Excuse me. I move in case number CE 210100025 that based on the evidence presented, I find the property is in violation of Hillsborough County codes or ordinances as listed in staff's presentation. Further, based on the gravity of the violation, the actions taken by the violator, and the violator's history, I grant 7 days to come into compliance. And if compliance is not achieved by that date, a fine of $200 a day be assessed.
All right. We have a motion by Ms. Clayton. Do we have a second?
Motion to second, Monique Mavor.
Ms. Mavor, thank you very much for your second. Discussion. Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. So we have 7 days. An officer will come out,
Thank you.
take a look at it.
It's done now. You can-
You'll be good
Yeah,
and you'll
thank
be in
you.
compliance.
Thank
Thank you
you.
very much. Have a great weekend. Next case, please.
Turn to page 6, number 14, case number CE 21015719. The owner is CWABS Incorporated, location 6003 Estelle Avenue. We have service and we do have someone signed in. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
You're the attorney representing the owner?
I am. I'm the attorney. My name is Kirby McDonough, and I represent, it's really Bank of New York Mellon as trustee for CWABS Inc. Asset-Backed Certificate Series 2006-23.
Can you state your address for the record?
Sure. My address or the address of the property?
Your business
Oh,
address is
sure.
fine.
It's at 201 North Franklin Street, Suite 2150, Tampa, Florida, 33602. And the property address here is 6003 Estelle Avenue, Gibsonton, Florida, 33534.
Do you recognize the property in the photo?
You know, I haven't been to the property.
It's all right.
I recognize this from pictures.
No problem. Good morning, officer.
Good morning, Board. Code Officer Larry Hoffman, Hillsborough County Code Enforcement. This property at 6003 Estelle Avenue in Gibsonton, Florida. This property is bank-owned as a result of a 2019 foreclosure. The bank was deeded the property in September of 2021. A complaint came in from neighbors regarding abandoned property, overgrown, and a number of violations listed. The property is cited for general standards for non-residential structures, accumulations, fences, inoperable vehicle. There's a truck box with the plate expired Florida tag at the bottom. Also roofs and parts thereof. There are 3 disintegrated tarps on the roof as well as some softened fascia damage. And stairs, porches, and appurtenance. You can see the missing slats and rotted boards. Unless we have windows and exterior doors. I last visited this property on April 19th when these pictures were taken. And also the property is listed for sale.
Okay, life safety concerns here?
The
Secure-
only concern that I have is the structure in the back, which is extremely dilapidated. I don't know the stability of it, but the roof is collapsed. The walls are missing there. You can see the sunlight coming through. The flooring is unstable. And if we have a quick storm, that might come down. There is, they did put up some fencing, some orange fencing around it. It's kind of flimsy fencing just to keep you off the deck, but yes, the stability of that structure there is a concern.
Is that structure, so other than the orange fence, there's nothing to keep neighbors or
Correct. That's
kids
it.
or
Only-
anything like that?
Right.
Nothing that
I
area.
easily stepped over the fence onto the deck, so anyone else could do the same.
Okay, excellent.
What about the windows and exterior doors?
The last picture depicts a broken window at the front of the property. It's boarded up.
That was the one with the plywood over it.
That picture right there, that's a window under there.
Okay. Counselor, what would you like to add?
Thank you. This property was the result of foreclosure. The bank took title to it. It wasn't abandoned, though. We had to actually go get a writ of possession to get them off of the property. I brought the writ of possession with me. I don't know if you all want to see it. It was executed on March 2nd, so we couldn't get onto the property until March 2nd. We also had a bid go out to Mortgage Contracting Services. As you can see, it's 100 jobs for them to do out there, and all with pictures. I have been told from my client that they have been out there removing the debris. There was a vehicle on the property, the accumulations, the overgrowth has been taken care of except for the roof. And the roof right now has a tarp on it where they're trying to get a contractor out to repair the roof. I was not aware of that structure in the back. So, I thought it looks like there's a fence parameter around the property. So instead of, I know there may be an orange fence back up there that somebody could step over, but there's still a fence, it looks like, surrounding the property as a whole from people to prevent people from coming on.
Looks like what's left of a fence.
Okay, and they're behind that, there's a chain link fence.
Understand. But if the officer didn't have any issues getting to the back and the secondary structure, then that means that the general public and kids and those.
Well, sure. I mean,
is the concern from a life safety standpoint.
Well, you would have to open the gate from the front of the house, which I'm assuming he did that. And there's a gate there if somebody wants to trespass. Yes, I mean, anybody could do that on anybody's property, but there is a fence up there to stop people from going back there.
So what's your overall plan for getting these?
The overall plan, I would like an extension of 60 days to repair the roof, to get a contractor out there. And if there's anything else, I'll meet with the code enforcement officer, the one that was in charge of the property I'd been emailing with. I haven't heard back from him, and I just learned today from another officer that he is out. So I'm assuming this officer is taking over the file, and I'll work with him and, daily, weekly to make sure that everything's in compliance. I can meet him out there at the property if he wants to walk through it with me. Because the writ of possession has been executed, there is nobody living there right now. So
you're okay with part of our motion being that no tenants until those improvements are completed?
Oh, for sure. Absolutely not.
Okay. And then I would assume that the board's probably going to have concerns about that piece in the back. Just
sure.
from a
I'd like
security standpoint. So you might have a multi-part motion here. I'm not sure. So
that's fine.
So really the only two issues you're saying that are left over to work with are the roofs and then this general standard for non-residential structures in the back.
I believe so. And I didn't know about that residential structure in the back till now. So I'll meet him out there. We can go over it together.
Okay. Excellent. All right.
If
Questions?
I may, before,
Please, officer.
these pictures were just taken just the other day, so all the violations that you see there, they're all existing
Okay.
as of now.
As of 4/19?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Excellent. Okay. Any questions from the board? Anybody like to entertain a motion if that's the case?
I'll entertain a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Versillo.
Okay, I move in the case of CE 21015-719, and based on the evidence presented, I find the property in violation of Hillsborough County Code and Ordinance as listed in staff presentation. Further, based on the gravity of the violation, the action taken by the violator's history, I grant 7 days to come in compliance with regards to NR 10.1, general standards for non-residential structure, and items 11.7.7, stairs, strip porches, and apparatus, and 11.7.9, windows and exterior doors. If compliance is not achieved by that time, a fine of $200 per day will be assessed. Regarding all the remaining items, I grant 60 days to come in compliance. Compliance not achieved by that time, a fine of $200.
Excellent. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second by Wright.
Thank you, Ms. Wright. Any further discussion? Members all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, Counselor, you have 7 days in which to handle the general standards for non-residential structures, the stairs, porches, and appurtenances, and the windows and exterior doors from a life safety standpoint. Failure to do that within 7 days will result in a $200 per day penalty. All the other violations, which, as you testified, you believe some of them are complied, have 60 days for the same $200 a day penalty.
Great. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, sir. Have a great weekend.
You too.
Next case, please.
Turn to page 7, number 15, case number CE 2200-0810. The owner is Margaret E. Brothers, the violator is Wendy Brothers, location 11324 Jim Court. We have service and we have some parties signed in for this. So if you're here for this case, come forward.
Hi.
Good morning.
There's one other gentleman that stepped out for a second, but he'll be right back in.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah.
Pull the microphone down a little.
Can you hear me?
I'll go ahead and give you the oath if you
Okay.
want. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
It is.
And state your name and address.
My name is Rana Patterson. I live at 11322 Jim Court, Riverview, Florida, 33569.
And what is your relation to this case?
I am the resident of next door to
Okay,
that
you're
house.
a neighbor.
I am.
Okay.
25 years.
Do we need to wait for the other?
Ms. Patterson was highly efficient. I was hoping that he was going to be back by the time we were done. Well,
Okay.
I hate to ask you, but if you would mind sitting down, we'll take another case and
Sure.
and then we'll bring you back up.
No problem.
You just give me a wave when you see him.
Okay,
We'll put it back on.
Next case then is on page 9, number 20. Case number CE 2100-4862. The owner is Emma DeGalato, location 5520 Venice Street. We have service, and we have someone here signed in.
Hi, my name is Aldaema Degollado. I'm her daughter,
Okay.
and I'm here to interpret.
And-
Okay.
Okay, and I'm going to need her to take the oath and you as well. So raise your right hand.
La mano derecha, que todo lo que digas va a ser verdad.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
And I'm going to need you both to state your name and address on the microphone, please. You can pull it closer to you.
Tu nombre y la dirección.
Emma Degollado, 52, 50.
The address is 5220 Venice Street, not 5520.
Does she recognize the property?
That is our
All right.
property.
Thank you.
Thank you. Officer?
Yes, I'm Officer Watson with Hillsborough County Code Enforcement, and this is for CE 21004862, 5520 Vernon Street, Waimama, Florida. It has not, I have not had contact with the property owner.
And 3 years.
One moment, ma'am. She's going to give his
So
case.
there's 3 violations on the property: accumulations, inoperable vehicle, and outside open storage. Currently, all 3 violations are still present as of 4/8/2022. Cases was initiated during our Fight the Blight operation. There was currently accumulations, cut up hot tub in the yard, small items, outside open storage. As you saw, there's a hot tub there. There's metal and at least 1 inoperable vehicle on the property. And this is the only case they've had in the last 5 years. I have not had contact because you see there's the beware of dog sign in the yard, and the gate's normally closed.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, ma'am, what would you like to tell the board?
Okay, my mom was removed from the property about 4 years ago. My father was diagnosed with dementia, and we lost him a year ago. Unfortunately, my mom wasn't able to come back to the house. The house had been abandoned. We never came back to the house, to be honest with you. It was abandoned for about 3-4 years. Had a lot of people parked in our, our porch, and we never went back. My dad died March of 2021, and in July of 21, a niece came by and needed somewhere to stay because of the epidemic, had lost her house and had lost her job, and the house was abandoned. My mom told them if they wanted, they could move in, clean up the area, and help themselves and help her maintain the property, which they did, and this was like in June of this year, of past year, and the cars are gone. We had not received no notice. Again, the house was abandoned. If he had not gone and put that post, I think he went and put a post in this notice. This is how she found out, and we found out we even had a problem. At no time did we know there was a problem. Had we received anything? Again, it was abandoned. And my niece is living there now. There's people living there. We did get rid of the 2 cars that were there. We got rid of the van that's there. That's gone. As of Wednesday, I went and did the yard and everything, all that debris is gone. There's no cars that don't have tags, except for my niece's cars that are working. But the van is gone, the piano, that one is gone. The yard has been cut. The porch is gone, most of the porch. I guess it had like a layout. Now it's only just the stairs going up. As you can see, before, I guess in April when you first went, there was a porch there. Now the porch is gone, it's only the stairs going to the house. We painted the house and cleaned the yard. I don't know how much in compliance we are, but as of Wednesday of this week, I was there, and the house looks pretty decent. I don't know how much compliance we need to be, but like I said, at no time did she know. If we had known this, like the affidavit says, I think April of 21 that this started, we would have taken care of it right away, but the house was abandoned. She wasn't even near the area, and this is where we're at. But everything has been taken care of. I don't know if we need a last inspection, so.
Okay.
I brought pictures, but they're on the phone and you're not gonna keep my phone.
It's probably a very nice phone. No, I understand.
Keep my phone.
You already heard my spiel, so that's how I collect phones.
Yeah.
So, excellent. Okay, thank you. I don't have any other questions for that. Sounds like, based on your testimony, that you're in compliance. So I would assume that the board would give you some decent amount of time and have, come out and have the officer verify that that's in compliance, and then the case will be closed.
Okay.
Okay. Board?
Quick question for the lady. You said inoperable vehicles are gone, accumulations are cleaned up. How about the outside and open storage?
Which ones is the open stores?
That's like the hot tub and the blue barrels,
Oh,
not the trash can.
Of
But
the,
that cut up hot
Cut
tub.
up
the
hot
only
tub.
thing I have back there now is the top that came out. They were gonna put it in the house, but it didn't fit. So, they bought another one and they just left that one outside. But I think it's only the hot tub standing on the back. I mean, not the hot tub, just the bathtub itself. It's a tub for the house.
So how much time would you need to get that taken care of?
I can remove it by this weekend. Shouldn't be no big deal.
I'm prepared to make a motion.
Okay, that's right.
I move in case number CE 21004862 that based on the evidence presented, I find that the property is in violation of Hillsborough County codes or ordinances as listed in the staff's presentation. Further, based on the gravity of the violation, the actions taken by the violator and the violator's history, that I grant 7 days to come into compliance, and if compliance is not achieved by that date, a fine of $200 per day be assessed.
All right, we have a motion for 7 days, $200 per day.
Second.
Second, Ms. Clayton. Thank you, Ms. Clayton. Any further discussion? Members all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, ma'am. So in the 7 days, you have the time to have, get with the officer. I would suggest you get his card so you have communication going back and forth directly, and then he'll come out and review. And if it's, once that's, I remove the hot tub for sure.
Definitely.
And then you'll be reviewed and complied and move on. Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you, ladies. Have a great weekend. Next case, please.
Turn to page 10, number 22, case number CE 2100-6686. The owner is Carlos A. Ortiz and Ashley M. Ortiz, location 10914 Standing Stone Drive. We have service. And we have someone signed in for this case. Morning, raise your right hand, please. Come up where you can speak into the microphone. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
I do.
And state your name and address.
My name is Ashley Ortiz. I live at 10914 Standing Stone Drive, Waimama 33598.
Carlos Ortiz, 10914 Standing Stone Drive, Waimama, Florida, 33598.
And do you recognize the property in the photo?
Yes.
Thank you.
Officer?
Officer Watson with Hillsborough County Code Enforcement for case CE 21006686 for 10914 Standing Stone Drive, Waimama, Florida, 33598. I have not had contact with the property owners here either. The initial inspection date was 5/13/2021 with one violation of overgrowth. Currently, the property is not being maintained. It has grass and weeds that exceed 10 inches in height.
Okay. Folks, what would you like to tell the board?
We have since cut the grass. I do have pictures for that. The front, we were having issues with our, it wasn't growing. So the back seemed to be growing a lot faster. We also did not have a lawnmower at the time. My husband has since fixed that and gotten that set up. So he did take care of that and got everything cut down.
Okay, so your testimony is that you're in compliance and ready to be inspected.
Yes.
Okay, excellent. All right.
Yes.
Fantastic. Pictures that aren't on a phone. Comments, questions from the board, or anybody would like to entertain a motion? Ms. Mavor, would you like to make a motion?
Hello, I move in case number CE 21006686 that based on the evidence presented, I find that the property is in violation of Hillsborough County codes or ordinances as listed in staff's presentation. Further, based on the gravity of the violation, the actions taken by the violator, and the violator's history, that I grant 7 days to come into compliance, and if compliance is not achieved by that date, a fine of $200 per day be assessed.
All right, we have our new member has made a motion. Do we have a second? Second by Mr. Razio. Any discussion? Seeing none, oh, please.
The only thing I've got to make is Brazella here and make a comment. This has gone on since 2021. It's got to be paid more attention to. You shouldn't have to wait a year to come there.
May I say something, Your Honor? I had an engineering position. I used to pay someone to cut my grass. I lost my job. I didn't have a lawnmower, a trimmer. When I lost my job, my main priority was to support my family. That's what I've been trying to do. I've sent multiple applications to multiple places to get employment. For whatever reason, I haven't been able to find my engineering position. I've been working as a delivery driver to support my family. Again, number one priority, keep the lights on, keep a roof over my kid's head. Every time the letter was sent, I did the best of my abilities.
I understand, sir.
I had to borrow lawnmowers and trimmers to get it cut to be in compliance.
Sir, we have a motion on the floor. We have a second. The comment was made from the board member to be added to the motion. I understand your position. I appreciate it. I know that you showed pictures that it's been in compliance. So we're going to continue with our motion. Okay?
Okay.
Thank you. As previously stated, we have a motion. We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Folks, you have 7 days. Get with the officer, get his contact information. He'll come back out and review and make sure you're in compliance. Thank you very much. Have a great day.
Are you ready? Okay, turn back to page 7, number 15, case number CE 20000810. The owner is Margaret E. Brothers and the violator is Wendy Brothers. Location 11324 Jim Court. We have service and we have both parties here now. And Ms. Patterson, you have already identified yourself and taken the oath. We're going to get the other gentleman up here. I also have a Sandra Wandell signed in. Is that somebody who's going to testify? Okay, go ahead and raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
And state your name and address.
David Hilton, 11317 Jim Court, Riverview.
Okay, are you also one of the neighbors?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Might as well to do the oath anyway, just in case.
Raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
And your name and address?
My name is Sandra Wendell, and I live at 11.
Get a little closer.
Sandra Wendell, and I live at 11339 Maybrook Avenue. I'm a resident in the community.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, officer.
Good morning again. Officer Larry Hoffman, Hillsborough County Code Enforcement. This property at 11324 Jim Court in Riverview, Florida. This property has had 4 previous cases before this one. It is a property that is in foreclosure. It's in the name of a deceased owner. It is occupied. A relative of the deceased owner is sometimes occupying this property with other individuals. I last visited this property on April 19th when these pictures were taken. It was cited for accumulations, windows at exterior doors. There are 3 windows that are broken out around this property. So this property has a little bit of a history. The occupants of this property have raised the eyebrows of the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Department on numerous occasions. I've been with Tico out there where they tampered with the electric meters, and they just been causing a poor quality of life for the neighbors that are there. So the 2 violations that are pictured here still remain. The foreclosure case has been stalled since October of last year, and the last motion was a request to pick up the case after December 31st of this year due to COVID. And nothing's been done since then. I did reach out to the attorney for the plaintiff, and I explained the situation, what's going on there, and the conditions of the property. And she noted that, yes, nothing's been done on the case, but she's going to push it forward. They have to amend the complaint. And she said within the next 90 days, this case will be moving forward, hopefully getting a judgment of foreclosure and returning the property to hopefully a new ownership. And that's where we're at right now.
Okay, who would like to start? Ms. Patterson?
Oh, please. Whew, and I hope I don't cry. So that's my fence right there that you're looking at.
You're on the other side.
I am on the other side. Yes, sir. And
I'm sorry.
You don't know how much I appreciate that, because I'm sorry too. That pile continues to get bigger and longer along that fence. There have been any number of people in and out of that house, and it's the squatter house as far as I'm concerned. I'm old. I've lived there 25 years. Margaret Brothers and I bought those properties, and they're the same model home. So let me just tell you, I've had people knocking on my door at all hours of the night thinking that they were at that door. And I live alone. I do have 2 dogs, which are no help at all.
Not of the attack variety.
They are not. They are not. But anywho, there have been any number of firearms, knives, anything else you want to say that has come out of that property. The sheriff's department, the fire rescue has been there. We could have had a stack of papers here that would have made a nice bonfire all the time. It's all the time. And I keep records. This sounds crazy, but I knew that this day might come, but it's hard to put into words how much that home is an eyesore for the neighbor. I can't believe that the bank would not want to take that property back because of the market today. It's bad for our homes in the neighborhood. It's not a new neighborhood. It's not a rich neighborhood, but you know what? There are homes. So, and we try to keep our homes the best we can. So, but this is ridiculous. Wendy Brothers believes she owns that property. And anyway, the point is that we need help. We need to get these people out of there. Thank you.
Thank you. Sir, anything you'd like to add?
I can just say, police have came to my house because I have cameras that surveil the whole neighborhood there. And they have got footage from me from incidents going on at that house where one guy got beat up, almost killed, ODs going on, so the police have all that on record. And one officer did tell me if y'all need information, that they will give you all the cases that they have that go years back.
Understand. The issues, unfortunately, that we're dealing with today are accumulations and windows and exterior doors, but happy to have the board review that. Anything else you'd like to add?
That's pretty much all I have to say.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Patterson?
One of our earlier code enforcement officers, I believe, is still here. And he has given numerous code enforcement violations to this property back when. I mean, because this has been going on for the last 3 years. And nothing has been done to this house to repair, to make try to do anything for this home. There you go. I'm
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Sandra?
Yes, I'm one of the residents there that still have children under the age of 15, and my children are afraid with other people that have children. They avoid that area walking around the corner there if it starts to get dark. The children have been approached. They are squatters in there. Wendy moved in after Margaret died and thinking she's claimed the home. They are squatters. They're homeless people that have been coming in and out of the community. I take care of the community wall because our HOA has fell apart. So I maintain the community wall. They put ladders up over the wall. They climb over the wall. There's various times that you'll see several of the squatters coming up over the wall, living in there. So they all go up in there and they live in there. When I approach one because they're trying to speak to my child or whatever, they've showed me their private areas and cursed me out. I've called the police numerous times. I am in the entry. I'm at one of the entries coming in. So I'm the wall. I'm T-bone to their street. But still, I see a lot. I have cameras. I put up extra cameras because, they like to tend to approach our children. My 15-year-old is high functioning autism. He has gotten a hold of some drugs coming from that home. So we desperately need that looked at. And I know that you're talking about all the property damage and all that. I mean, they load up more. They put up more stuff in the front yard since this picture was taken. So they got all this furniture that they keep bringing in, but just to let you know that. So.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your testimony. Officer, just to follow up with the windows and exterior doors, is that considered a life safety issue?
They have, I couldn't get on the property itself to view. I view with the help of the neighbors. I'm not sure they have some kind of material up. I don't know if it's curtains or what, but I can't get a good look. But they have something in front of it, but it could be a building safety security issue. Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Thank you. Any questions for the board? Ms. Patterson would like to add one more thing to her testimony, if that's okay, if you guys didn't have any other questions.
I'm sorry. So another issue that we have, well, we don't have it, they have it. They have no power. They have a meter in there, but there's no power in this house. And from what we understand, Mr. Hoffman, is this correct? They have a lien on their water?
Yes, I did confirm with TICO that the electric has been shut off since March. I know there was a previous case that they were cited for electrical service, and they did put the electric on for 1 month, but then it was terminated after that. Also, Hillsborough County Public Utilities has a lien for water. There's an outstanding water bill, and there's a lien filed by the county.
Okay, excellent. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Appreciate it. Ms. Wright?
Testing, okay. I'm prepared to make a motion. I move in case number CE 2200810, that based on the evidence presented, I find that the property is in violation of Hillsborough County codes or ordinances as listed in the staff's presentation. Further, based on the gravity of the violation, the actions taken by the violator and the violator's history, that I grant 7 days to come into compliance, and if compliance is not achieved by that date, fine of $500 per day be assessed.
Second by Brazil.
Second by Mr. Rizal. We have a motion of 7 days, $500 per day. Any discussion? Members all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Property owner has 7 days to come into compliance, or we'll start a $500 per day penalty. Thank you very much for your testimony and time. Have a great weekend.
Is the person who was on virtually ready? Is she still there? Yes, okay. Turn to page 12, number 27, case number CE 2100-9820. The owner is Florida Regional Builders LLC, 12680 North Central Avenue. We have service and we have someone virtual to attend the hearing here. Good morning. Raise your right hand, please. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
I can't hear you.
Yes, I do.
Okay, and state your name and address.
Gina Madrid, and my personal address is 324 South Locust Street, Denver, Colorado, 80224.
Okay, thank you. And what is your relation to this case? Where did
I
you?
work for the company, and I'm the office manager at the company.
Okay.
Good morning, officer.
I'm Sarah Franco with Hillsborough County Code Enforcement. This is case number CE 2100-9820, and the property in question is located at 12680 North Central Avenue, Tampa, Florida, 33612, and owned by Florida Regional Builders LLC. The property is zoned RSC 9 and is not currently occupied due to being vacant land. The property is not in foreclosure, and it was first inspected on July 13th of 2021. This is the first case investigated by code enforcement. There have been 6 site visits conducted on this property. This property has had numerous issues with accumulations and overgrowth since the case was first initiated. The accumulations have been remediated, but the overgrowth is still present with no progress noted. During the multiple inspections I conducted, I was not able to get in touch with the property owner due to no one being present and the property owners living in the state of Colorado. I was finally able to get a hold of the property manager, Gina, on April 15th. They were unaware that this case was scheduled for a hearing, so I emailed her a copy of the affidavit of service so they could attend virtually. And I conducted my final inspection on the 18th of April, and photographs were taken at the time for this hearing.
Just to confirm, we're showing slides for case 9819. And
They're in conjunction with each
they're in
other.
conjunction
I'm
with
sorry.
9820. That's okay.
Same
They're
owner.
next door to each other.
Okay. I just want to make sure that we called the correct case, and I think you called 9820.
Yes.
Okay. So let's show the pictures for 9820 since we've already called that case and complete that one, and then we'll come back to 9819. I'm sorry.
I didn't notice that they were both the same.
No worries.
And I only had the one case number marked.
Okay. Officer, can you tell us about this one?
Sorry. The overgrowth is still present. There are some accumulations, but it's a property where people drive by and just throw trash normally. It has been picked up substantially. Like I said, it's just breeding ground for nuisance trash.
Stuff.
Correct. And being that they live in the state of Colorado, the overgrowth is still present with no progress. And the folio next to it, which is the next case, same conditions.
Okay. And you've had communication with the owner?
I just the other day,
Recently?
Gina,
Okay.
I was able to get a hold of her.
Okay.
They didn't know that they were scheduled for a hearing.
Excellent. Okay. Questions?
How far back does that overgrowth go?
I'm sorry?
How far back does that overgrowth go?
I'm not sure, sir. It's the length of the whole property.
Okay. All right, Miss Gina, what can you add?
Well, we will take care of the overgrowth. The only problem we have right now is all the cars and items and debris, like furniture and the other things of that nature that you have seen. That all belongs to the neighbor by the name of Oliver. I'm sorry, I don't have his last
Okay.
name with me.
1 second, Gina. Let's deal with just the vacant lot and the overgrowth on this one, and then we'll we'll call that case and review those pictures and go forward on that one, okay?
Okay, well, we can take care of the overgrowth. What we're planning to do, because we're in permit status for this, because we're gonna build new properties on there, a new house on each vacant lot. The vacant lots are obviously adjacent to each other, but we're gonna build new properties on both of them. We're in the permit process for both of them. And absolutely, we will take care of the overgrowth. What we want to do though is be able to put a fence around the entire area, both, side by side instead of two different fences for each lot. And in order to do that, which is why I brought up the other stuff, we need all that removed in order to do that.
Okay, how long will it take you to remove the overgrowth on this particular parcel?
A week, maybe two. I just got to find someone to go out there. My boss has since moved back there, so I just got to call somebody to get them out there. It shouldn't take too long.
Okay, excellent, thank you. Any questions from the board? All right, I'd be happy to entertain a motion.
I didn't understand
So
what,
there is a question.
what she said, how long it would take her. To
Ms. Gina testified that she thought it'd be a week or two for her to get the overgrowth completed.
Okay, I'm prepared to make a motion.
Please. Mr. Osio.
I move in case number CE 2100-9820 that based on the evidence presented, I find the property is in violation of Hillsborough County codes or ordinances as listed in staff's presentation. Further, based on the gravity of the violation, the actions taken by the violator and the violator's history, I grant 10 days to come into compliance, and if compliance is not achieved by that date, a fine of $200 per day be assessed.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second, Clayton.
Any discussion? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Excellent. Can we
Okay, I guess we'll go back to.
please, if you can recall or call the previous case, we'll
Number.
clean that one up too.
Number 26, case number CE 2100-9819. The owner is Florida Regional Builders LLC, location 12690 North Central Avenue. And again, we have service, and Ms. Madrid is still online. to
Okay.
testify.
Officer, would you recap that one for us real quick?
Sarah Franco with Hillsborough County Code Enforcement, case number CE 2100-9819. The property in question is located at 12690 North Central Avenue, Tampa, Florida, 33612, owned by Florida Regional Builders LLC. Property is zoned RSC 9 and is not currently occupied due to being vacant land. Property is not in foreclosure and was first inspected July 13th of 21. This is also the first case investigated by Code Enforcement. There have been 6 site visits conducted on this property as well. The property has had numerous issues with the violations which have been cited, but the majority of the problem for this folio is regarding the property owner who lives next door, who uses their property as a storage facility.
I see.
The property owner, Calvin Oliver, who actually has a case coming up today as well, has violations, well, the owner, this owner is accumulations, inoperable vehicles, accessories that are primary, and excess recreational and utility vehicles. During the multiple inspections I conducted, I was not able to get in touch with the property owner until April 15th when I spoke to Gina, and I sent her the affidavit of service on this case as well. Gina did state that on numerous attempts, they've sent paperwork to Mr. Oliver to remove his items off the property to no avail. I recommended they need to put a fence around their property and physically remove his stuff if he won't move it for them. And my final inspection was April 18th, and the photographs were taken at this time for the hearing. And this is all of Calvin's stuff.
Excellent. Okay. I think we have a better understanding now. Ms. Gina, what would you like to tell us about this particular parcel?
Again, we are more than happy to do the overgrowth and, fix that part up and then put a fence up. It does take a while to get that fence up because everybody's booked out a while. I called after I spoke with Sarah and to see how far people were out. Some people were out 3 weeks, some people were out 4. We do want to go the cheapest route as far as putting fence up, because right now we're still in permitting, but we obviously need the fence because we have numerous times told him to remove his stuff. A couple times he's removed it. It's been, obviously it goes right back. So as far as the violations for us, for all of his stuff on our property, I feel like that would be, I don't even know how to approach that honestly, because we try to get him to get his stuff off, and we've tried to tell him, we've even tried to purchase his property, which he was insulted by the amount we offered to give him. But if he doesn't move his stuff, other than calling the police and tow companies and things like that, which I can do, I hate to do that, but I guess that would be my next option, and that's what I can tell you guys I will do. As far as
Okay,
getting his stuff off in order to do the overgrowth and clean the lot itself.
how much time do you think you need to get those things accomplished?
I honestly would need, I'm assuming 2 weeks, because it's a lot of stuff. Unless he's willing to just go and move it, then I would assume he can move it today or tomorrow. It's his stuff that could go right back onto his land, which he doesn't probably have enough room for, which is why it's on ours.
Okay, officer, was anything like that?
He actually has a boat that is sitting in between both properties that needs to be removed.
Okay.
So that's part of the problem.
Okay. Life safety concerns here or anything like that? I mean, I know it's been going on a while, but,
It has.
okay. The testimony from Gina was she thought she needed a couple of weeks. I mean, from a commentary standpoint, I would think that more time might be needed to get that accomplished, especially with the subcontractor for the fence. So, but I'll leave that to the board for questions and motions.
I'm sorry. Yes. Okay. I misstated that. I'm sorry. So to get him his stuff off and get the overgrowth done, yes, roughly 2 weeks. But as far as the fencing, it will take 3 to 4 tops. Like I said, I've called around to a couple different places as far as fencing goes, and it just needs to be, they need to come out and really be able to do not a survey necessarily, but see our lines of our property. And they can't do that with all of his stuff on it.
Sure, you're going to need a boundary survey. Understand. And I appreciate the fact that since April 15th, you've made contact with the officer and you're in the process of trying to get it done. And I think the board will give you some time to get that done. So,
Okay.
thanks.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, I'm prepared to make a motion.
Mr. Russell, please.
I move in the case of CE 21009819, that based on the evidence presented, I find the property in violation of Hillsborough County Code and ordinance as listed in staff presentation. Further, based on the gravity of violation, the action taken by the violator, violence history, I grant 60 days to come in compliance. Compliance not achieved by the time of fine of $250 at ABSS.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second, yes.
Second by Mr. Rosio. Okay, any additional discussion?
I do have one more.
Ms. Gina, we're in the middle of the motion. Give us 1 second.
Oh, okay.
Okay, seeing no more discussion, members all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion passes. Ms. Gina, you have 60 days to get all of that completed and resolved. Otherwise, there's a penalty of $250 per calendar day after that.
That being said, is it okay if we were to call tow companies and police officers to get his stuff off of our property?
I can't give you any legal advice, but I would suggest that's probably the path that you need to go next to be able to have items removed from your property that are there illegally.
Okay.
Okay?
All right, perfect. I appreciate the help.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a great weekend.
You as well.
Bye-bye. Before we call the next case, we'd like to take a 10-minute break. So we will adjourn for 10 minutes. We don't want to wear out Miss Mayvor first day. Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready to resume? Okay. All right, we're ready to resume our meeting. Back in session. Next case, please.
Turn to page 14, number 31, case number CE 21016535. The owner is Community Education Centers Incorporated, 9722 East US Highway 92. We have service and we do have someone here for this case.
Still probably good morning, I guess.
Raise your right hand.
Good morning.
Please. Take the oath, please. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay, and would both of you state your name and address for the record?
Z.A. Khan, Khan.
Altaf Hussain Bukhari, ALTAFHUSEN, Altaf Hussain, and last name is Bukhari, B as in boy, UKHARI.
And can you explain what your relationship is to the community education center?
I'm secretary of the Community Education Center.
Okay.
And I'm the treasurer of the Community Education Center.
Thank you. Do you recognize the property in the photo up there?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Did you get a mailing address? Did you get a mailing address on that?
5514 Baptist Church Road, 33610.
Thank you very much. Good morning, officer.
Good morning, Board. Armando Gutierrez, Hillsborough County Code Enforcement. This case initiated December 2021. It is a mobile home park. Planned development is the zone. It's tenant occupied. It's not in foreclosure. The violations that we have are accumulations, overgrowth, protective treatment, roofs and/or parts thereof. There were quite a few other violations that have been complied.
Communication with the owner?
I've had communications with who I thought was the owner, and I'm thinking it's one of these gentlemen's here.
Okay.
And I believe you said you're the secretary?
No, I'm treasurer. He's the secretary. I'm treasurer.
Treasurer, I apologize. So I have had communications with the treasurer. They were informed about all the violations that exist on this mobile home park. They did take care of, like I said, the inoperable vehicles that were there. There was another RV that didn't belong. It was a recreational vehicle that didn't belong in this mobile home park that they moved. But as of right now, and as of April 11th, this is how the park continues to look, or looked at that time.
Excellent. Thank you. All right, gentlemen, who would like to speak first?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Khan, what would you like to tell us?
I think, to my best of my knowledge, that I know a little bit, I don't know much about mobile homes. It seems to be that we have tried to comply, and I don't know if we have complied 100% or not, but I think we have.
Okay, so since these pictures were taken on April 11th, you've done more to the property as far as cleaning up and things like that?
Yes, and actually, my friend has already, I think he called you Monday or Tuesday, something like that, but it was, I guess, too late to cancel this thing.
Okay, Mr. Bakari?
Yes. Actually, after 11th April, we already complied most of these violations.
Okay.
And I called you that come to re-inspect that. So he told me that as the court date is set, once after that he will come back.
Right, okay. So you've seen the pictures, you know the issues here, and those have all been complied.
complied.
Okay, excellent. So You're okay with a short time frame to have the officer
Yeah,
come out?
15 days, or 8
review
days,
it?
yeah,
Okay,
15
excellent.
days.
All right. I'll pass it to the board. Anyone would like to entertain a motion?
I'm prepared to make a motion.
Okay.
I
Mr. Rossi?
I move in case number 2101-6535 that based on the evidence presented, I find the property is in violation of Hillsborough County codes or ordinances listed in staff's presentation. Further, based on the gravity of the violation, the actions taken by the violator and the violator's history, I grant 10 days to come into compliance, and if compliance is not achieved by that date, a fine of $250 per day be assessed.
We have a motion, Mr. Rossi. Do we have a second?
Second by Vizoa.
Second. Any discussion? Okay, motion in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
You have 10 days and be in touch with the officer.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Next case, please.
Number 32, case number CE 22003331. The owner is Dorothy Weber, 6500 East 23rd Avenue. We have service and we have someone signed in here for this case.
Ms. Weber?
No, it's Lance Johnson and Kimberly Johnson.
Oh.
Are signed in for this.
The Johnsons, they're on their way. They were confused because they believe it's the wrong house.
Raise your right hand, please. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
State your name and address.
Lance Johnson.
Come closer to the microphone, please.
Lance Johnson, 6514 East 23rd Avenue, Tampa.
And state your name and address, please.
We'll turn that one on for you. There you go.
Kimberly Johnson, 6514 East 23rd Avenue, Tampa, Florida, 33619.
So you're neighbors to this property, is that correct?
I don't know. Oh, that's that corner. Corner.
Excuse me, that's the wrong photo. It's the wrong CE for this case.
2200-3331 is what we have.
Okay, that's not the Johnson's case.
That's the case they signed in for.
They signed for the wrong case. Their address is 6514 East 23rd.
Are they on this agenda?
Yes, they are.
Which
But they're
number?
6381.
My God.
It's case number 30.
I apologize.
Kimberly Ann House.
We got
just
our
upped the
cases
ringing.
mixed up.
We're getting closer.
Yes, sir.
Hang in with us.
Okay,
Would you like to call case number 30?
let me do that.
Okay.
Page 13, number 30, case number CE 2101-6381. The owner is Kimberly Ann House, 6514 East 23rd Avenue. We have service, and the Johnsons are here for this case. And do you recognize that property?
Yes, we do.
And what's your relation to this property?
We're the owners.
You own it?
Ms. House is now Mrs. Johnson.
Oh, are you Miss House?
Yes.
I was so confused.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I don't know why I didn't see that. Okay, thank you very much. And you recognize that,
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Try one more time, officer. Good morning.
Good morning. Hillsborough County, Armando Gutierrez, Hillsborough County Code Enforcement. This case was initiated December 2021. I've done half a dozen inspections here. They also had a violations of inoperable vehicle, which they took care of. The violation that exists is the accessory structure setback. They have this accessory structure, which is not allowed in the front yard. And I spoke to Mr. Johnson, who said that it was delivered. There was a gift from, I think, your brother, someone.
We took over the payments that he didn't want to.
Right. And he advised me that he was going to move it. It was going to take him time. I worked with him, gave him ample time. But as of April 12th, it is still there.
Okay, and is there a place on the property that it can be allowed?
Well, this case also has a code compliant case because that structure is larger than 150 square feet, which needs to be permitted. But they can once it gets permitted, they can place that accessory structure in the back.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Okay, folks,
Yes.
go ahead, your turn.
All right, yes, sir. We apologize for the time it has taken us to really get it moved. And at first, we were analyzing our options that to sell it. We were trying to sell it for a little while, but then it's impossible to get what you actually pay for something.
And we like the storage.
And yeah, and our house is a 900 square foot house. We're a family of five. One of my kids is grown, but he still lives with us. And there's we use it for storage,
Need your
clothes.
space. Yeah,
yes,
absolutely.
extra space by all means, yes, sir. And
Bigger living room.
we've had hardships too along the way since December. My son, he wrecked our car, he wrecked my truck, and then she actually totaled her car, her brand new 2019 car. So we've had one little setback after another, which is really just the financial aspect of everything, paying to have it moved and and we've even tried to find somewhere just to move it to, and we've been unable to do that. So I've been trying to educate myself as much as possible with zoning and stuff like that. And I have initiated with a variance application to keep it placed there. And survey companies are booked way out. But my next, the soonest appointment I could get was for May 9th. I have an appointment for a survey of the yards, for the gathering of all the information for the variance application on May 9th. To try and see if I can get it kept there. And I know I could get into I know that's a part of the application if I get into why it's not in the backyard, because I have grandfather oaks all down directly behind that. There's 3 giant grandfather oaks straight down the side property. Mm-hmm. And on the other side, and I have right in front of the red car, there's a tree there and another tree right beside that, which prevents me from being able to move it down the side. And in my rear yard, I have trees all the way to the back rear property line, and my entire backyard is a drain field for that set.
Just for clarification, officer, it appears by their testimony that they want to try to keep this even with the variance. Will they be allowed to have it in the front yard?
It's possible with the variance.
Okay.
And that's what I was unable to really get a solid answer on, calling and gathering my own information, is if it's even possible. So
any concerns from a life safety standpoint here?
There's no life safety. It's just a setback issue that accessory structure should not be in the front yard.
Gotcha. Okay.
I really don't want to waste my time if anyone has knowledge on if it's really just.
No, it can be a challenging process. I understand that, but it sounds like you're headed the right direction. And based on the comments from the board, you might be able to do something with an extension or something to have you come back and tell us how things are going, kind of thing.
Right.
And
May
through the process.
May 9th is the survey, and then they said 12 days after that, within 12 days they'll have my paperwork, and then I can finish.
So by the end of May, you can submit for whatever you're trying to do.
End of May, beginning of June.
There's no guarantee of the variance.
Absolutely. I totally understand.
Yeah.
It's up to the board whether they give you the time to go through the variance process or not. So, absolutely. Okay, excellent. Comments from the board or questions?
I'm prepared to make a motion.
Okay.
I move in case number CE 210153227 for a continuance of 90 days did I read the?
Wrong case number.
Let me
Number 30.
redo that motion. I
No problem.
apologize. I move in case number CE 2101631 for a continuance of 90 days until our July 21st hearing.
Okay, will actually be our July 22nd hearing, but yes. Okay.
I second.
Second for that motion?
Second, Monique Mavor.
Thank you, Ms. Mavor. All right, a motion and a second. Any comments, questions, concerns? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, so we're going to continue the case for 90 days. You'll come back in front of us for the July 22nd hearing and tell us how things are going.
Now, when I file for the variance and I get my number, would that offset this next hearing? Would I just notify someone that?
You would need to get with code compliance and let them know that the variance has been approved.
Okay.
But I'm guessing in 90 days, it probably won't be. But you'll come back to us, you'll give us an update on where you are and where the progress is. And if you made progress, then we'll address that time. If you haven't made progress, then we can.
Yes.
So
Yes.
go from there.
Address it
Awesome. All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Have a good day.
Yep. Have a great day.
Mr. Chair, this is the clerk. Who had the motion on that?
Ms. Wright?
Thank you.
Absolutely. Next case, please.
I don't have anyone else in the audience listed unless I've overlooked someone. So
I don't see anyone.
we're done with that part.
No one online?
No.
Okay. Seeing that no one is present in the audience for the remaining cases on the agenda, the board will now review the case materials previously provided by county staff. And if the board finds that the property is in violation of Hillsborough County codes or ordinances as listed in staff's presentation, the board's ruling in each case will be based on the evidence presented on the gravity of the violation, the actions taken by the violator, and the violator's history, and determining the amount of the fine will be assessed. For purposes of motions, we will start here with Mr. Versilla. We'll run all the way down to the end, and we'll bring it back around to Mr. Versilla, and we'll repeat. Excellent. All right. First case, please.
Page one, number one, case number CE 2100-1099. This case was closed due to the pool being secure and the property maintained. Page two, number four, case number CE 2100-7906. The owner is the 11780 Hoyt Avenue Land Trust. Location 11708 Hoyt Avenue. We have service and no one is present.
Good evening, I'm Officer Padilla, Hillsborough County Code Enforcement. This case came to Code Enforcement on June 7, 2021. The complaint was mainly about one of the neighbors complained that the house was a boarding house and that one of the tenants there was taking rent for a house that they have in the back, which is actually a garage. This property has an extensive history going back to 2012. Property is not in foreclosure and there is taxes owed on it and is not homesteaded. I've been to the property several times. Have not ever met the owner. Matter of fact, the address that's listed for the owner is at the airport post office. I cited the property for non-conforming house type, which there is a garage that's there that someone is living in it with kids and it's not been permitted. So that's where we're at.
This would be considered a life safety issue with active people in the.
That's another good question. Although I do know I've seen people there, I have not been able to actually go inside to see what it looks like inside that second unit. But as for the main unit, no, there's no safety issues.
Understand. Okay. Questions, Mr. Versilla?
Question, we've got the property owner as 17780 Holt Avenue land, and then you say it was a trust?
That is correct. I'm sorry about that. Somehow got erased off of
Trust
the agenda.
Trust got dropped.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
the 11780 Hoyt Avenue Land Trust.
Okay. Hippo, how much time would you recommend to give?
0. I have enough time already.
Huh?
Multiple cases on this as well?
Yeah, this problem has been a problem for a while on various different things, including this one. And like I said, extensive history going back to 2012, so.
Excellent. Troublemaker.
It's a lot of issues.
Understand. Okay, Mr. Versilla?
It's no response from the owner at all on something like this.
No, I've even tried to Google the owner, and like I said, went to I know that the address that's listed for him is the post office because I was trying to locate him and actually went to the post office.
I grant 30 days, $250 a day.
Do we have a second?
Second, Durazio.
Second by Mr. Rosio. For purposes of discussion, based on the repeat violator here, I mean, I recognize this building. We've had multiple cases here. And the fact that people are living in this and we don't really have an idea of what's going on.
Okay, good. Yeah, I don't. What do you recommend?
I would say 500 a day. And we're already given 30 days. I mean, I think that's plenty of time to try to get contact with them, but maybe so that they understand it's an issue they need to address.
I don't think 30 days is going to help either.
Okay.
Perfectly honest.
We shorten that. I'm happy with
Let's
that
go
too.
7 days, $500.
Motion revised to 7 days, $500 per day. Do we have a second for that?
Second, Clayton.
Ms. Clayton, thank you. All right, discussion? Members in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. 7 days, $500 a day. Thank you very much.
Good morning, sir.
Next case, please.
And turn to page 3, number 7, CE 2100-7169. This case complied April 19, 2019. Page 4, number 8, CE 2200-0229. This case was pulled for staff. Page number 9, case number CE 2100-0756. The owner is Damian Rodriguez Quintana and Olga Alvarez Diaz. Location 6002 North Gunlock Avenue. We have service and no one is present.
Good morning.
Case number CE 2200-0756, located at 6002 North Gunlock Avenue. That was a self-initiated case by Officer Carrion. He cited the property for commercial vehicles. As you can see, it's a large semi, and that was on January 20th, 2022. It complied on January 29th of 2022. He's seeking a remaining compliance order as there were 2 other previous cases for commercial vehicles, CE 1700-1638 and CE 2101-5826. The owner has since found a yard to place the semi in. We just want to ensure that it doesn't come back.
Understand. Thank you. Ms. Wright?
I find that the property was in violation of Hillsborough County Code's ordinances as presented. Further, I find that the property is now in compliance with the code provision and order that it remain in compliance with this code provision.
We have a motion to remain in compliance. Do we have a second? Thank you, Mr. Ravel. Any discussion? Members in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank
Remain in compliance. Thank you, sir. Next case, please.
Number 10, case number CE 2100-8994. The owner is Michael Reedy and Carrie J. Reedy, 9501 Drake Mill Court. We have service and no one is present.
Good morning.
Morning, Board. Edward Spriggs, Hillsborough County Code Enforcement. Here with CE 2100-8994, 9501 Drake Mill Court, Tampa, Florida, 33615. This case came to us via complaint from the neighbor of overgrown property with trees and tree roots that have been had grown into her backyard, disrupting the patio that they put down, cracking the pavement. I went to the property. First inspection was on 6/25/21 back in June. I went to the property and I spoke to Miss Kerr, or Mr. Kerr Reedy. I spoke with her, the property owner. Older lady, just coming out of hospital. Husband is ill health, the whole 9 yards. However, she understood the issues, and her testimony to me at the time was the backyard is 10 times worse than the front yard. My question at the time, how long has this been going on? She said she can't remember the last time it was mowed. Pictures, my last visit was April 19th. That mower had been sitting there. The young lad next door had tried to mow the property, and it didn't make it. It's been kind of sitting there. My last time when I spoke with her, she said she's going to try to get the mower fixed. No, here we sit with the grass almost a year later, taller.
How much time do you think?
To quote the gentleman before, 0.
Gotcha. Okay. Based on the overgrowth that's happened in the last year, how much time do you think it'll take someone to do something there?
I have no idea what the backyard looks like because I was not allowed back there. Didn't get permission to go through. The trees are in desperate shape of trimming on the side of the property where the overgrowth, the roots have broken the concrete of the neighbor. You know, you're going to need a powerful machine to get in there to mow that hayfield down. You know, if they get somebody, because they were completely aware of what's been going on, multiple contacts, multiple phone calls. Yeah, 15 to 30 days.
Okay, excellent. All right, Ms. Mayvor?
I grant 7 days to come into compliance, and if compliance is not achieved by that date, a fine of $200 per day be assessed.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second by Wright.
Second by Mrs. Wright. Ms. Wright? 7 days, $200 per day. Discussion? Do we?
Since, I'd like to make
Please.
a comment. I think.
Sure.
I'd like to suggest you consider raising that quite a bit since they've been ignoring things for so long to light a fire under them that.
To 500 a day?
Would you like to revise your motion?
I'll revise my motion.
Yes, ma'am.
I grant 7 days to come into compliance, and if compliance is not achieved by that date, a fine of $500 per day be assessed.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
You got it.
Group second. Ms. Clayton, you win. We have a second by Ms. Clayton. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 7 days, $500 per day. Thank you, board. Thank you. Next case, please.
Page 5, number 12, case number CE 2101-6172. The owner is Edith E. Storer Ritchie and Ray W. Storer, 12803 Bomb Riverview Road. We have service and no one is present. And just for the record, this Edith Ritchie contacted our office and stated she was in the hospital and unable to attend the hearing, and she wanted 30 days to come into compliance.
Thank you. Officer Zalva?
Officer Zalva, Hillsborough County Code Enforcement. On 12/6/2021, I arrived at the property at 12803 Balm Riverview Road and spoke with the tenant there, Mr. Williams, Mr. John Williams, and the complaint was about the rear of the property. As you can see in the pictures, the mobile home is dilapidated and appears to be unsafe to be lived in. He allowed us access to the back of the property to take pictures of this mobile home, and him and his wife or girlfriend do live inside this. There's also overgrowth. We requested 5 days for the overgrowth and 30 days for a notice violation to obtain demolition permits or a new one to be installed. As of January 21st, the overgrowth was gone. However, the dilapidated mobile home remained, and he had a pod on scene to collect this stuff from inside. I advised him because it had been open so long, we'd be referring it to a hearing, and only spoke to him on the phone. At that point, he is trying to find a new/used mobile home. On 4/6 this month, I posted the affidavit of service on the front gate. And I did speak with Edith Ritchie later on, who stated she was in the hospital and she requested continuance. I explained to her that that would be up to the board as far as continuing because of the dilapidated state of this mobile home. It is unsafe, and the code enforcement would like to request the board to consider the dangerous condition of this property and that this mobile home be vacated until it could be repaired to code or removed off this property.
So there are people currently living in it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, excellent. Question, Mr. Rusilla?
Yes, the question I had, Susan, you said that you got a request for 30 days?
Yes, she contacted our office, and I guess she was referred to us and we don't have the authority to reschedule the date or anything like that. So we told her that we would let you know that she was asking for 30 days.
Okay, the only other comment, I agree with the inspector that there'd be a real short time frame on this and not to be occupied. It's a health issue.
Mr. Razio, would you like to make a motion?
Okay, yes. I grant 10 days to come into compliance, and if compliance is not achieved by that date, a fine of $250 a day be assessed.
All right, we have a motion for 10 days, $250 per day. Do we have a second?
Second, for the purpose of discussion,
Ms. Wright?
would you consider shortening that time frame?
Can I interrupt for a second?
I don't know that.
To
I don't know that you can get anything done in less
Right.
than
Well, that's their option.
10 days.
Mr. Brasano, is there something you'd like to add before we finish our motion?
Yes, please. Dealing with demolitions and issues, they don't need a permit because it's a mobile home to remove it. But we need to be careful because we may need to set up a situation with a short time period that is a no-win for them. She's asked for 30 days to comply the issue. I don't think that's unreasonable, and with the issue of what our concern is part of the order to be that the home
Vacant.
be vacated because it's an unsafe environment could be added. So 30 days is very reasonable with the condition that they vacate the home. I would, that'd be up to you. That could be the short period of time that you're requesting.
Okay. Thank you for that, Mr. Brasano. Mr. Razio, would you like to amend your motion?
I amend my motion or make a new motion
Okay. Either way.
that I grant 3 days to vacate the property and 30 days to come into compliance, or a fine of $200 per day be assessed.
Is your motion for $200 per day for the vacate and $200 per day for the 30 days? Okay. So we have a motion for 3-day vacate at $200 a day and 30 days to remove the that's what I'm asking. She assigned a $200 per day penalty for failure to vacate within 3 days.
And I'll second that. Second by right.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. And now comment. Anybody have any comments?
I have a comment. I would, on a 3-day vacate, you $200, I would go 3 days, $500, because I'd like to see that implemented. And then 3 days, 200 on.
I can amend the motion 3 days to vacate and $500 per day after that, and then 30 days to comply to $200 per day.
Okay, so we have a motion, revised motion for Mr. Razio for 3 days, $500 per day to vacate the parcel, and then 30 days, $200 per day for the removal of general standards for dwellings. We
And
have a second.
Second by right.
Ms. Wright seconds our revised motion. Comments, questions, concerns? All members in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. 3 days, 500 to vacate, 30 days, $200 per day. Thank you. Mr. Zalva, it looks like you're sticking around.
Please so, sir.
Next case, please.
Page 6, number 13, case number CE 2101-6896. The violator is Katie Miranda, 10303 Salisbury Street. We have service and no one is present.
Jason Zalva, Hillsborough County Code Enforcement. On December 29, 2021, I arrived at 10303 Salisbury Street for a report of commercial truck in the front yard. We'd have previous cases at this address for inoperable vehicles and a commercial box truck. Kate Miranda runs a wedding event rental company, and the box truck stores their property. Upon arrival that day, I observed not only the box truck, but also a Toyota Solaris with a 1219 tag, a red Honda Civic with no tag, and the commercial box truck was also missing a tag. I knocked on the door, spoke with the brother of Kate, Jerry, And he remembered me from the last time, and I explained to him that he's once again in violation, and I'll be referring this for a hearing on my next inspection. The previous inspections were complied, but because of that, I requested a 15-day notice violation. On 125, I returned for reinspection. I observed the inoperable vehicles remained, however, the box truck was gone. At that point, I advised them that I would be referring this to a hearing. However, they now had 2 utility trailers on the property, one enclosed, one not. Apparently, they're now storing their stuff for the rental company inside the trailers. Now, as you see the pictures here, you see the stuff being stored outside with the chairs. That just happened. So before it was being stored, it's now being stored in the backyard and outside, which would be considered outside open storage. I could not add that on for this hearing. I'll be going back out there again and reciting if those chairs are still there. All right. So upon my last visit, originally they did have the in-op vehicles gone, but as of 4/15, the in-op vehicles were back, to include the Solera, and the utility trailer that's in the front yard does not have a tag. We'd be asking for a board order for the commercial vehicles, excess utility trailers, and in-op vehicles.
Excellent. Thank you. Ms. Clayton.
I agree, excuse me, I grant 15 days to come into compliance. If compliance is not achieved by that date, a fine of $400 a day be assessed.
We have a motion from Ms. Clayton for 15 days, $400 per day. Do we have a second?
Second, Mavor.
Second by Ms. Mabor. Discussion. Seeing none, all members in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 15 days, $400 per day.
Thank you, sir. You
Thank
have
you.
a good weekend.
Thank you, you too. Next case, please.
Page 7, number 16, case number CE 2200-1084. The owner is Jeffrey S. Bradford. Location 7229 Turkey Creek Road. We have service and no one is present.
Good morning, Code Officer Larry Hoffman, Hillsborough County Code Enforcement. This property at 7229 Turkey Creek Road has had 4 previous cases since 2020. It's cited for structure used as a dwelling, not meeting standards of a dwelling. This is a repeat violator from a previous case, board order date from 12/18/2021. On 4/19, I visited the property. I met with the owner, Jeffrey Bradford, and he did confirm to me that the occupants are still in the shed. Also observed, while I was on property, observed a male hop the fence in the rear and approach those buildings. And I approached him, asked him his purpose, and he said he was going to visit somebody at this property by name who we previously identified as the occupant of this property. So he's still in there. So we're asking a ruling on a per occurrence.
Can I ask, what were the fines assessed?
This is-
Just a moment, I'll look it up. It was $250 a day, and they complied within the time ordered.
Right, and the complaint that comes in is that they move out, and then as soon as the case is closed, they move back in. And the owner seems very confused on what's going on, even though he's been explained several times what to do.
Okay, Mr. Rousseau?
So this would, Carmine, this would be a repeat violation from the fines commenced with the first inspection date?
No, we have to get a per occurrence order before we can do that.
Yeah, it'd be a repeat violation.
Well, you would do you would rule on the repeat violator, give them time to come into compliance, and then we would go into the next.
So you're asking for order to stay in compliance, then also a repeat violation?
Well,
No.
they haven't come into compliance yet.
It would just be the repeat violation.
Okay,
So we deal with the repeat, and then we're asking for a per occurrence after that.
okay.
Which is part of the repeat
Yeah.
violation.
And time and a fine to come into compliance.
Understand.
Okay, I find that the property again in violation of Hillsborough County Code ordinance, NO ordinance as listed in staff presentation. and of the previous order, CE 2100008375, dated 12/18/21. This constitutes a repeat violation defined by Florida statutes. Further, I grant 7 days to come in compliance. If compliance not achieved by that time, fine of $500 today be assessed. Additionally, a fine of $1,000 per day per occurrence be imposed as a repeat violation after compliance is achieved.
We have a motion from Mr. Rosillo for 7 days, $500 per day with a per occurrence of $1,000. Do we have a second?
Second by Wright.
Second by Mrs. Wright. Discussion? Seeing none, members all in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. 7 days, 500 and 1,000 per occurrence. Thank you. Next case, please.
Page 8, number 17, CE 2100-5128. This case was pulled per staff. Number 18, case number CE 2100-5758. The owner is Robert Joseph Backlund, 614 Valley Vista Drive. We have service and no one is present.
Good morning, Officer Parker, Hillsborough County Code Enforcement. This code enforcement received an anonymous complaint at 614 Valley Vista Drive, Brandon, Florida, 33511 on April 28th, 2021. The items cited were overgrowth in the backyard, inoperable vehicles, and protective treatment on the garage door. I have made no contact with the property owner. It's had previous cases, 3 to be exact, dating back over 8 years. The last case was 5 years old. On my last visit on 4/14, the property remained unchanged.
So previous cases complied before they were?
No, one went into fine run, and it was complete fine 2017, August 3rd.
Excellent. Thank you. Ms. Wright?
I grant 14 days to come into compliance, and if compliance is not achieved by that date, a fine of $400 per day be assessed.
I have a motion for Ms. Wright for 14 days, $400 per day. Do I have a second?
Second, Clayton.
Ms. Clayton, thank you. Discussion? Seeing none, all members in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 14 days, $400 per day.
Thank you.
I did not. Thank you.
Page
Next case, please.
Page 9, number 19, CE 2100-5829. This case complied April 19, 2022. Page 10, number 21, CE 2100-5196. This case complied April 19, 2022. Number 23, case number CE 2100-8456. The owner is OB Enterprises Incorporated. The location 11712 North 14th Street. We have service and no one is present.
Good morning.
Good morning again.
For a couple more minutes.
I am Sarah Franco with Hillsborough County Code Enforcement. The case number is CE 2100-8456, and the property in question is located at 11712 North 14th Street, Tampa, Florida, 33612, and owned by OB Enterprises Incorporated. The property is zoned RMC 16 and is currently not occupied due to being vacant land. The property is not in foreclosure and was first inspected on June 16th of 21. This is the second case investigated by code enforcement in the past 5 years. There have been 9 site visits conducted on this property. This property has had numerous issues with accumulations and overgrowth since the case was first initiated. These 2 violations still remain. The accumulations is, again, like my previous case, it's a dumping ground. They've picked up a lot since the case was first started. The overgrowth has been untouched. During the multiple inspections I conducted, I was not able to get in touch with anybody, but doing backwards research, I was able to obtain the property owner lives in Pinellas County. The telephone I found was not in service. And I conducted my final inspection on April 15th and photographs were taken at the time.
So the property owner has made some progress on the accumulations, but the overgrowth has been going on since June of 21.
Correct. And they're
Like 10
actually,
months?
it was a homeless camp, but they've cleaned that out as well. And I drive by it all the time.
Okay.
So yeah, as compared to where it was a couple weeks ago to now, it's seen improvement.
Okay. Excellent. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ms. Mavor?
I grant 14 days to come into compliance, and if compliance is not achieved by that date, a fine of $250 per day be assessed.
I have motion for 14 days, $250 per day. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Razio. Any discussion? Seeing none, all members in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 14 days, $250 per day. Thank you. And welcome back.
Hi.
Nice try.
Yeah, right.
I have one more going.
Turn to page 11, number 24, case number CE 2100-9229. This case complied April 21st, 2022. Number 25, case number CE 2100-9681. The owner is Calvin J. Oliver, location 12702 North Central Avenue. We have service and no one is present.
I'm Sarah Franco with Hillsborough County Code Enforcement, case number CE 2100-9681. Property in question is located at 12702 North Central Avenue, Tampa, Florida 33612, and owned by Calvin Oliver. The property is zoned RSC 9 and is occupied by the property owner, Calvin Oliver. Property is not in foreclosure. It was first inspected July 13th, 2021. And this is the second case in the past 5 years conducted by code enforcement. There have been 8 site visits conducted on this property for this case. This property has had numerous issues with the following violations: accumulations, overgrowth, inoperable vehicles, outside open storage, excessive utility trailers, and pleasure crafts. During the 3 inspections I physically conducted, I was only able to speak to Mr. Oliver twice regarding this case. He insisted he is trying to clean up his property. But I have seen no progress. I've only seen it actually get worse.
Okay.
Every time I go, I get citizens that stop me on the side of the road and inquire about this address. When we did my previous cases, this is in conjunction with Gina's case, Folio, with my other cases that you heard earlier. So this is part of the problem. And
This is the gentleman that owns the property that was depositing things on their property.
correct.
Oh, my goodness.
That boat on the left side is,
Okay, that's the border between the properties. Okay,
it's really bad.
excellent. Mr. Razio, I think you're up. I will remind you that I believe we have the ability to impose a fine of up to $1,000 a day.
That's a good thing. I grant 10 days to come into compliance, and if compliance is not achieved by that date, a fine of $1,000 a day be assessed.
Second by right.
All right, we have a motion for Mr. Razio for 10 days, $1,000 per day. Second by Mrs. Wright. Miss Wright? I'll get it right eventually. Apologize. Any comments? Questions, concerns? Seeing none. Members? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Mr. Versola opposes. Motion passes. 10 days, $1,000 per day. Thank you. Have a great weekend. Next case, please.
Page 13. Page 13, number 28, CE 2101-4192. This case
We're
was
doing good.
closed
Well, you didn't like
because it was a duplicate.
Microphone. I'm sorry, please continue.
Did you hear that?
Yes.
Number 28, CE 2101-4192. The case was closed because it's a duplicate of a case that has fines running on the same thing. Number 29, case number CE 2101-5327. The owner, Mohammed Salim and Kaniz Aisha. And this is a vacant lot north of 4405 Garden Lane. We have service and no one is present.
Good afternoon. I'm Wanda Gutierrez, Hillsborough County Code Enforcement. This property was initiated in November of 2021. This lot actually was part of Swiftmud. Swiftmud actually owned this lot, sold it to the prior owner. and he just does not maintain this property. I've never been able to contact with him, have any type of contact with him whatsoever.
Wow, outstanding since November.
Yes, sir.
Okay, excellent. Ms. Clayton?
I grant 7 days to come into compliance. If compliance is not achieved by that date, a fine of $500 a day be assessed.
I have a motion for 7 days, $500 per day. Do we have a second?
Second, Mavor.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second for 7 days, $500 per day. Discussion? Seeing none, all members in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 7 days, $500 per day. Next case, please.
That concludes the cases on the agenda. If you would go to your addendum. Do you have the addendum?
Yes, ma'am.
32. No, we didn't do 32. I apologize. I'm sorry. Let's go back to the agenda. I've just been made aware that I missed one. Page 14, number 32, case number CE 2200-3331. The owner is Dorothy Weber, 6500 East 23rd Avenue. We have service and no one is present.
Good afternoon. I'm Amanda Gutierrez, Hillsborough County Code Enforcement. This property was initiated March 2022. It is owner occupied. It is not in foreclosure, zoned RSC 9. The violations that we have are accumulations, overgrowth, fences, inoperable vehicles, roofs and or parts thereof, and windows and exterior doors. I spoke to the owner, the owner's son. The owner actually passed away, Ms. Weber. The owner's son told me that he's taking over. He is going to go ahead and fix all the violations that needed to be fixed. He also told me that he would be present here today, but he is not. And this is where we're at with this property. As of right now, it is where it is what you see.
Based on the amount of issues here on this property, what do you think it'll take to get those things done?
There's quite a few violations. I would like to be fair with him. I know his mom passed away. I personally, I would think I would just start with the 30 days. See if we can, take care of all the violations.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Mr. Ursula?
I grant 32 days, $250 a day.
Second by right.
Motion by Mr. Ursula and second by Ms. Wright for 32 days, $250 per day.
Thank you.
We have it. All members, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? None. Motion carries. 32 days at $250 per day. Guys really trying to trip me up. All right. Last case of the day, please.
Now we'll go to the addendum, case number CE 2101-4670. The owner is Patrick Belson, location 5132 Puritan Road. We technically do not have service, but it is being put on the agenda as a life safety issue, which doesn't require actual service according to the statute.
Okay. Good afternoon, officer. Microphone.
Roy Livingston. And this case is Charlie Echo 2101-4670, the property at 5132 Puritan Road. I first inspected the property on 11/16/21. At the time for RVs. On a second inspection, the house destroyed by fire was added to the actual case. So there was a previous case that did not address the structure. At this time, I posted a property on the 20th of April, a few days ago. And during that period when I was posting the property, I actually talked to the property owner and his representative in a conference call. They are aware of the issues. At this time, GM Paisano is working the condemnation case. The owners are aware of that, and we're trying to move forward with that. And Carmine will take over.
I'm basically going to continue on this and ask the board in the end to make a ruling, which is a little uncommon, but fully empowered by Chapter 162 of the Florida State Statutes. I was brought into this case on May 4th, 2021, as a result of the fire on the structure. And the photos I'm going to show you are in various stages, which is going to support my request in the end. I responded on May 4th, 2021, and conducted the inspection. To conclusion, I prepared a condemnation report, which was forwarded to department officials as by state statute, who concurred with my ruling and signed off on the notice and order of condemnation, which was served on the owners by posting of the property. And made several visits to the property during that time period of trying to come in contact with the owners, but and the unusual thing is that they did show up for the hearing on August 13, 2021. There were several requests made to the board. I don't recall as to the ruling of the hearing, but they were taking control of the environment out there, and at the request of the power of attorney individual Maria Gonzalez, is that they were going to do the condemnation on their own, which I have usually afford the property owner to expend their own money rather than to utilize the county's money. And then we have to go through the process of leaning the property, and if the property owner would usually step up and take care of it, that's the overall goal. It's to the best interest. But you can see still from what the property condition was on May 4th. On September 8th, I had found by speaking to Ms. Gonzalez that the mortgage was paid off. The property at that time was in danger of being foreclosed on, but the mortgage being paid off stopped that, and that they were going to start the cleanup on 10/6. I visited the property, and I'll get to those photos. Observed that the cleanup had started and the pool was fenced in, and there was no demolition permit applied for at the time. And you can see on the photos of 11/19, the site of 2021, the debris surrounding the house had increased and posed a greater danger and attractive nuisance. This property is wide open and Puritan is a busy road. A lot of foot traffic goes up and down the road. On January 6, 2022, a site visit came in contact with Patrick Belson. I spoke with him about him attaining the demolition permit, which he said that he had been distracted and spending his money on other activities. And I advised him that I would have a final notice mailed to him, so that was the process of the county proceeding with the demolition. On March 2nd, I got to go to the March 2nd, I noticed that 2022, that further demolition activity had occurred. He had torn down the second level and it was now laying on the ground. On March 18th, I came in contact with Patrick Belson and Maria Gonzalez, and they had been spending the night, God bless you, you can see the property on January 6th in this shack that's on this photo here. He had set up residence on the property by taking scrap wood and then building the shack on the property. God bless you again. On April 1st, 2022, I'm sorry, let me back up. On March 22nd, I started receiving complaints about the property being turned into a homeless camp. I responded to the location and found a travel trailer with 3 subjects in the travel trailer. It's a travel trailer that they were living in. And what it came down to is that Patrick had rented the property for them for $200 for the month. There really should be nobody on this property because of, you can see from the photographs, it is a very dangerous site. Another thing that I want to show you is now that Patrick has gone in his effort to get money, took the fencing down that was around the pool and sold the fencing. So he thus took away the security of the pool that the board had requested that he do and the hearing. I had since convinced the people to move off of the property. And they relocated elsewhere, which was part of the reason for us being here. But in showing you the photographs and hopefully from my testimony that you would understand that Patrick is unpredictable and we don't know what he may do from time to time. Yesterday, I got notice from our contractor that we do have the demolition permit on hand. He will proceed with moving equipment in Monday or Tuesday of next week, and then the demolition shall commence. One of the important things is that no one be on the property and no unsuspecting new tenants show up, and then we have a difficulty of having them removed, thus would potentially endanger the procedure of the demolition due to having occupants and individuals on the property, which may take a safety issue to the contractor. So in my request, which I said would be a little different than before, is that for the managers, for the code board to affirm and the condemnation of the property and basically to direct the county to correct the conditions due to the abandoned efforts of the property owner and commence with the demolition of the structures on the property, to rule that the property to be a serious threat to the public health, safety, and welfare of the community, thus ordering that any and all occupants that may occupy the property to immediately vacate the property due to these conditions, and the property remain unoccupied until the condition violations are corrected and that future activities fall within the approved conditions of the county, and to direct the sheriffs of Hillsborough County to remove any individuals who may violate this order by the board at the board's request. I know it was quite lengthy on that, and I would tell you it would be a little unusual, but we do have a very unusual situation, and I had not had to do this before because I usually have gotten compliance or people vacated.
Question from the board.
A question.
Yes, sir.
I concur with your summation of what the order should be. And with the 3-day and a fine, if it's not, I don't understand.
This is not a fine type
It's
issue.
3 days that it's vacated.
This is not even a 3-day. This is for the board and to take.
This is just
the orders
affirmation of the condemnation.
to affirm the condemnation and directed the code enforcement in Hillsborough County to proceed with the demolition as far as taking over the county to do this, taking it out of the hands of the property owner. And that
You mentioned about the sheriff's department as well.
in the end, if the board puts an order to direct the sheriff to remove any and all occupants that may be on the property, it helps gives with that direct order, knowing from previous experiences is that if those wording is in there, the sheriff is obligated to take action.
For the purpose of the order, could you restate, Carmine, one more time, all of the items that You're asking for us to affirm so that we
I've written
can
it.
provide the motion for that?
I've written it down. If I miss anything, we'll discuss and
Yeah,
reevaluate.
because the only thing,
Oh,
One thing to add, so my case, I was out a couple days ago. There's nobody on the property currently. The pool has been temporarily fenced off. But for my case, the only remaining issue is the general standards. And I would like to have that dovetail into the condemnation so that the ruling give the owner enough time to follow up after the condemnation. Because basically, once everything's cleared out, that vacates my violation or complies my violation.
So for clarification, do you want essentially a two-part order? You want a day and a fine for the general standards, and you'd like us to affirm the condemnation as a second part of the order?
I'd like to follow the GM Paisano's recommendation.
really what I'm requesting resolves the problem of the general standards.
That was what where we were headed.
But this is for the ruling on his case.
Right.
It's just that it all falls into one issue. Yes.
Microphone, please.
Hillsborough
Microphone, please.
County. Yes, it is.
One more time.
Oh,
Repeat your question in the microphone.
the question was, is the property in the city of Tampa or Hillsborough County?
Hillsborough
County. Wouldn't be here if it was.
all right.
Ms. Wright, would you like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Please.
Excuse me, board members, I do have a few questions. Cherie Murphy with
Ms.
the county
Murphy,
attorney.
good
Yes,
afternoon.
good afternoon. I do have a few questions. This seems to
Please.
be, I guess, not your usual type of case.
Yes, ma'am.
I was reading the statute. I know Susan had indicated that notice was not required. And I just wanted to make certain that the way the statute reads is that the inspector has made reasonable attempts to notify the violator. And I just wanted to clarify that it sounds like the testimony was that he posted the property. Is that correct? Mr.
Yes, ma'am.
Paisano?
I
Okay, so
posted.
posted the property, and also you've had communications with the property owner.
Yes, ma'am, on a
Okay.
conference call.
Okay, so there's not, I guess, the assertion that notice is not required, just that you make reasonable efforts to try to notify the owner, and it sounds like you have. The second question I do have regarding the sheriff's office, have we done this in the past with these type of orders? Have we had the sheriff's office to be ordered to remove persons from the property?
I had conferred with Mr. Pope, and these were the recommendations that that he make, that I present this to the board.
Okay.
And he would then make contact with the legal office of the sheriff's office to discuss and get their basically cooperation in this
Okay.
effort, should it come down to it.
Okay, because I'm not sure if the board has the authority to order another agency, but I'm not certain. I just don't want there to be, I don't know if they can order the sheriff's office pursuant to this order to do any such action. It would be nice if we would have had maybe a comment from the sheriff's office saying that they were, that they could do that they were fine with that. So that's just my only concern, that they may or may not abide. I don't know what their position would be.
I could tell you, Ms. Murphy, I agree with you. And I said it would be unusual. It was unusual. But in my past experiences, it does help, and it does help us, and also supports the sheriff's position, is when there is a direct order for them to take action. So the board itself is recognized as an authority to rule, and for their rulings to be followed.
Right. And I do agree they have authority over the county agencies. the sheriff is a whole separate entity. So I don't know if that can be worded some way where,
That's why I was suggesting for them to direct, and that's where I thought I was worded it quite safely. It is, I would, unless you disagree, to direct the sheriff's office to, it doesn't command. Command would be more powerful to wording, but to direct the sheriff's office to remove the violators.
I think direct probably would be an order. Maybe direct the county attorney's office to work with the sheriff's office to ensure that no occupants are allowed on the premises, or they're removed, or any means necessary that that we can do to make sure that that the board's intent is followed.
Well, my intent is to, after this hearing, is to contact Kemp Hope and advise him of the ruling, and so he could proceed with his efforts to
Okay, so
sheriff's
there.
office.
Okay, so maybe the order could be to direct the county attorney's office to work with the sheriff's office to ensure that the property remains unoccupied, or any unwelcome or unwanted guests are removed, because you can direct the county departments. That's just a recommendation. I just, like I said, I don't know how the sheriff's office, if we can directly direct another agency that's not within the county's purview.
Thank you, Ms. Murphy. Appreciate your comments. As
Okay,
always.
thank you.
Ms. Wright, would you like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion. I'm moving case number CE 210-14670 to affirm the condemnation issued by the county and rule that this is a serious nuisance to the community, and to have the property immediately vacated, as well as direct the county to work with the sheriff's office to ensure that occupants are off of the property.
It didn't. I really would prefer that Mr. Bassano read his original affirmation, because it also talks about corrective actions, commencing the demolition, property to remain unoccupied, and then the statement from our attorney in regards to directing the county attorney to work with the sheriff's office. So I'd really like to have that summarized one more time, Mr. Bassano, if you could. And then if you agree with it, and Ms. Wright, I would say that you could then say that that is sufficient. Mr. Bassano, would you give me the list one more time, or pass it over, or however you'd like to?
Yeah, how about I pass it over, and you're just gonna, that's right, you're just gonna have to add
The directing the
issue
county
about
attorney to work
directing.
with the sheriff's office, correct. One second, please. Please hold.
Yes.
Mr. Persano, just for clarification, timelines are not required here. All this motion will be essentially simultaneous as far as the condemnation and all the items that are listed.
Yeah, everything at the moment is flowing. The reason for all of this is so we don't get any interruptions.
I understand. Well, that's why we want to measure twice and cut once here. So thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
All right.
Ms. Wright, would you like to make a motion?
Yes, I'll take another shot at this.
Okay.
I move in case CE 2101470 the Code Enforcement Board affirms the condemnation of the property, to direct the county to correct the conditions due to the abandoned efforts of the property owner and commence with demolition of all structures on the property, to rule the property to be a serious threat to the public health, safety, and welfare to the community. Thus order all occupants to immediately vacate the property due to this condition, and the property remain unoccupied until the condition violations are corrected, and that the county work directly with the sheriff's office to ensure future activity to prevent future occupancy that falls within the outside of the approved conditions of the Hillsborough County codes and regulations.
Okay. In your order, did you mean to say direct the county attorney's office to work with the sheriff's office?
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. So edited. Motion on the floor for all the things that Ms. Wright just mentioned. Do we have a second?
Second, Mayvor.
Thank you, Ms. Mavor. We have a second. All right, any comments or discussion? Seeing none, members all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you very much. Next case.
No more cases. That concludes the agenda.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Appreciate the time for everyone online. Thank you, Ms. Murphy, for your comments.
Can I get a picture?
Have a great weekend. This board meeting is adjourned.